including free shipping on everything. Just call 877-ASK-DEL for Black Friday deals. That's 877-ASK-DEL.
This is Loyalty Lab Interview 6. Subject, grandmother's loyalty. Margie, what do you do when your grandson misbehaves?
Angels don't misbehave.
Here we study the most loyal, like you and... Oh, there goes the lamp.
Shouldn't have put it there.
Shell and the Fuel Rewards program has our members' backs, too. It's super easy to save on every gallon. Loyal, just like how you acted like that wasn't his fault.
Someone should clean that up before he gets hurt.
Yes, loyal, just like that.
10 years of FR.com. Terms and conditions apply.
We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Down the sideline to the 10 and drags a defender in the end zone for a touchdown. Jackson Smith and Jigba. A 50-yard scoring strike from C.J. Stroud. He'll hit the Purdue 40. Down the left side to the 30. Henderson to the 20, to the 10. And into the end zone goes Henderson.
Don't miss the Buckeyes all season long. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. And on 92.9 Jack FM. Go Bucks.
Kev, you know what our listeners are saying?
What's up?
Don't ever leave us alone with Kenner again.
Oh, guess what? Next Wednesday, it's all you. It's all you again. I got to go back out to Clark State next Wednesday.
You got another appearance, huh?
Yeah, hanging out with the cool people out there at Clark State. They got the spring registration events going on Wednesday. I get out there, hang out with the students, do my thing.
Yeah, because see, what Kev does is because look, I'm not good enough to work for more than one radio station. Mr. Kev Nash here, he gets to be on Hot 102.9. He gets to be on ESPN. He gets the best of both worlds. You know, I don't get to go make additional coin out and about from 3 to 6. But my guy Kev here, no, I'm just joking. But, you know, that's just pure jealousy. You know, everyone's like, oh, you're just jealous. Yes. I've never understood people who try to act like jealousy is like, oh, no, I'm not a jealous person. We all are. We all look at somebody else that has something that we don't and say, I want that. I don't think that's always a bad thing.
It's not.
It's just not. How you go about it is the other. If you're gonna be oh whiny little fill in the blank, then you know that's on you the rest of the way. But no,
I'm jealous of people that have shoe plugs. You know, these sneakers dropped today. These DJ.
I didn't know that receding hairline. If you're gonna say hair plugs,
no, I'm good. I'm hanging on.
That's not a receding hairline.
No,
you've always it's good for you.
Hanging on. Fingers crossed. No, but DJ Khaled. He just dropped some brand new Jordans today and wasn't able to get them. All my sneakerheads know about them, but
I'm not like I wear shoes until, you know, they start falling apart. But like how many pairs of shoes a month do you buy?
Oh, a month. Oh, see, this year I've been great. So I only bought one pair of shoes from January until August. One pair of shoes. But September came, and then it was all she wrote. So I would say from September till November, probably about five pair of sneakers.
Now, when you buy these, do you wear these shoes?
Yes.
Or you just collect them and just
yes. These when did these come out? I don't know if people can they see them on the screen.
Big shoe collector, huh?
Yeah. So these are what are these? These are the playoff 12s. Jordan playoff 12s. So this is the ones that he hit the shot over Utah Jazz with.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. Yeah. Like I said, I
way back in 1998.
When I was younger, I had to spend, you know, I had to get the most expensive shoes, everything. Now I'm like, you know, that shoe right there looks like the type of shoe I want to buy that's more money. So I'm going to go with that.
It is a very,
the way my bank account set up.
Exactly. It's a very, very difficult habit to have. It's collecting sneakers. I wouldn't suggest it.
So while you were out yesterday, it was nothing but college football playoff reaction, the rankings that came out. We'll kind of go where the listeners take us today, but you know, everyone heard my take on it yesterday. I didn't really get too outraged by anything. I think it's fair to question LSU being at 10. I get why that, like when I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's going to irritate people. I was not that bothered by Alabama being ahead of TCU. The only thing that I forgot to mention yesterday is if Clemson, I feel like Clemson and TCU are very similar, and to put Clemson in the top 4, but then to keep TCU behind Alabama, I thought that was mixed messaging because I think TCU and Clemson are the same dang team. Mm-hmm. If they would have had Michigan in the top 4 and they kept Clemson out, I thought that would have at least been consistent as far as like, okay, Michigan's undefeated, blah, blah, blah. But like Clemson, you haven't beat anyone of substance technically, even though you have the ranked wins, just like TCU has the ranked wins. But that's the only nitpicky thing if I was going to look at it. But the bottom line is all the teams that we knew were going to be in the mix were in the mix. I wasn't outraged like some. Some were very furious about the Alabama thing. And as I said yesterday, I think sometimes we try too hard to convince everyone that Alabama is not Alabama. Like, it's not that they lost. It's yes, they lost, but who you beat matters, but who you lose to matters as well. Had they got blown out or whatever, it's one thing. And I know people still hold against it that they gave up the 50 or whatever, but they lost by a field goal. I mean, whoever had the ball last. I mean, so you mean so Tennessee's the number one team in the country. They're the number one team in the country because they had the last possession against Alabama. If Alabama has so that means the last possession in that ball game is the difference between 1 and 6. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, we're trying to convince ourselves too hard, I think, that Alabama has no business being up that far. But at the end of the day, it all works itself out. Right. But what were some of the things that you took away as far as like, man, I can't believe that team was there? I'm sure probably LSU, maybe Alabama had a TCU, the top 4. Did that surprise you? I know I spent a lot of time on this yesterday, but Mr. Kev Nash wasn't here, so I'm curious your thoughts.
So obviously, I think everybody out there in their right mind understands that Tennessee should be the number 1 ranked team in the country. I mean, look at those wins. They got the best win out there. I personally would have had Georgia number 2, then Ohio State, and that 4th spot could have went to either Clemson, Michigan, or even TCU. I don't have a problem with Clemson being at number 4 because ultimately Ohio State and Michigan play, and that's going to work itself out. So I think that's one of the things that we have to realize is these rankings come out, but guess what? These teams, most of the time, the back half of the season, they ultimately end up playing each other. Now, the Alabama thing, really don't have a big problem with them being ahead of TCU because if TCU, which probably is not going to happen because it never happens like this, because we always say, well, if they control their own destiny, it just doesn't work out that way. People ultimately lose games. So TCU this upcoming week, who do they got? I think they got Texas, if I'm not mistaken.
Texas, yes.
So they play Texas, a like opponent to Alabama. And if TCU handles their business, then what can people say about Alabama being ahead of them? They would be still undefeated. And if they beat the same opponent that they beat, how big is the margin? So those things will definitely take care of themselves. But the biggest one for me, hands down, is LSU being ranked in the top 10. I have no idea how they're ranked in the top 10. They lost week 1 to Florida State, and then they got blew out by Tennessee. Now, I know that somehow, some way, people ranked Texas after a close loss to Alabama, but it was a close loss. LSU got blew out by Tennessee, the number 1 ranked team in the country. I look at other teams out there that have close calls and more victories than them right now. I look at a team like UCLA. I look at a team like Ole Miss. Now, granted, Ole Miss and LSU get ready to play each other, so that's going to be a good game here upcoming soon. But, like, that's the one that's glaring to me. I don't think that teams like LSU and Oregon, for that matter, can be ranked in the top 10 right now because they got blew out bad. Obviously, Oregon got blew out bad by Georgia week 1. LSU got blew out by Tennessee more recently. So I'm looking at those teams like, not sure if you really are up to snuff. And I do need to correct myself. LSU did beat Ole Miss, so 45-20.
Yeah, they blew them out. I think
they washed it out. They're blowout. They got a blowout, and then they got blowout.
So, and again, the beauty part about the playoff is the fact that there is not, it's not like there's 3 bullet points of criteria that is used across the board. There is over 20 different bullet points of criteria, and they can always just grab these 4 to justify this team here, and then ignore those same 4 bullet points and grab 4 different ones to justify. I mean, that, to me, what everyone thinks is the flaw of the playoff, I think that's the most beautiful part about it, because at the end of the day, no matter how many different variations of the different bullet points of criteria that they have, it always seems to work out. They always seem to get it right. I really don't have any issue with any of the previous playoffs that we've had. A lot of the big debates have stemmed from, who should be in at 4? And outside of Ohio State, we've never seen a 4 seed win a championship anyway. So it's not like, oh man, think of all the teams we've robbed of winning national championships. History tells us, and I believe that year Ohio State was, that was a much better. That team should have probably been seeded higher had they not had that early season loss, but they went through all the injuries. I mean, it was just one crazy thing after another. Bottom line is I sit here. So Shaw asked something. Where did he go?
I heard he's only talking to me.
He's only talking to you.
What's up, Shaw?
He goes, what about Texas ranked 24th with the 3 losses? Shaw, this is the example of kind of what we talked about with Fitzy about the fact that you asked about Georgia and the injury that they had to their star player. I think that 2 of those 3 losses, the committee is looking at saying, well, man, if Quinn Ewers doesn't go out, you're beating Alabama. So you would have been, they got rewarded for barely losing to Alabama with the backup quarterback. And then they lost with the backup quarterback against Texas Tech. So two of their losses have come with the backup quarterback. I'm not saying that they're, omitting those losses, but I think that they're, I think 2 losses equals 1. So Texas technically a 2-loss team in the eyes of the committee. I'm guessing, right? Like that's the only thing that makes sense. I agree. 3-loss Texas team. But I do think that each loss with the backup quarterback counts as half a loss, whatever. I'm making up these little weird mathematical equations in my head. But my thing, Shaw, I'm not going to get too fired up with who's ranked number 24. Like that's
I'm with you.
That's the thing about it.
I'm not going to get too fired up about.
Not saying he is. I don't want to hurt his feelings so early in the show today.
I'm not going to get fired up about, teams that aren't ranked like in the top 15 or whatever, because ultimately those teams probably aren't going to make the college football playoff. You could nitpick and say like, oh man, this 3-loss team should be ranked at top 25. Because I mean, those programs, they want to be ranked. They want to have a number by their name. But ultimately, if we're talking about the college football playoff, then what's there to be arguing about? Like, they're not going to make it. And the best that they can do is potentially win their conference if things break their way. But when you look at UCLA, like them being at 12, they're in a good spot. USC, they're in a good spot, because they all have 1 loss. You look at Oregon, they have 1 loss, even though they have that blowout loss to Georgia. Like those teams right there, I would be very weary of, because I'm not convinced that Alabama is going to run the table all the way to the SEC championship game, because they still got to play LSU, obviously, this weekend. Then if they do beat LSU, then they'll have to play a rematch with Tennessee, or they'll play Georgia. So, I'm not sure if Alabama is going to be a player in this come the last week of college football season.
Jacob Fightmaster. Jacob, I don't know. He goes, how far down would OSU drop if they lose to Clemson? Re-ask. I don't know what is that like a hypothetical? I mean, yes, it's a hypothetical scenario, but like, did you mean to say Ohio State? Like, I'm confused. Or Clemson. I mean, what does that have to do? I don't get the correlation between those 2 teams. Jacob, just re-clarify. We'll try to answer that. Just re-clarify it. By the way, live on Facebook. Everyone has Facebook. Head to Facebook, search the Justin Kinner Show, like the show page. The questions and the comments that we are, just kind of bringing up out of nowhere, they're coming from the Facebook page, and we always pull your profile picture and your comment into the show and interact with you that way. There's that, or you can give us a call at 518-1410, which, look at that, perfect timing, right? As I said that, imagine that. So 518-1410, give us a call and jump into the conversation that way. William Yelly says they put LSU at 10 so they can boost Alabama's resume. William, usually I am not one to buy into these SEC bias type conversations. I don't necessarily believe it. However, I don't really have an answer. I don't really have an answer for this one. Like, if there was ever an argument to be made about the committee using certain teams to prop up others, this is the only one. I have an answer for everything in life, right? I don't have an answer for this one. Like, I'm with you. William, I'm with you on this one. This one doesn't look good for the committee. I think there's other ways. I mean, I don't think LSU, or I don't think Alabama needed this. The reason I'll semi-counter this, I don't think Alabama needs LSU to be top 10 to prop them up. I mean, you could have put LSU at 14 or 15. Alabama beats a 14 or 15 LSU team.
Right.
And that's, I'm not saying it's as good, but it's a top 25 win according to the playoff rankings. So that's kind of where I'm at with that, as far as I'm concerned. However, though, it does seem like they are really trying to squeeze that, or to push that square peg in a round hole, right? With LSU being there at 10.
So the thing is about the college football committee, it's a committee of multiple people. And when you don't have clear, defined rules about how you're going to be voting, everyone has their own things that they value more. So, okay, me and you, I value, the eyeball test, and you value who they played and do they have a number by their name. So if we're arguing back and forth about who's better and who's not, then we bring in the third person. Let's say Hooper's voting on this. So then we bring him into the conversation. So it's a collective. It isn't just one individual. It's a collective of this committee that comes up with the best case scenario, the best that they could do. And let's be clear, man, ranking 25 teams is not easy. It's not easy. How many times have you ranked something and said, oh, man, I totally forgot about that team. They're 7-1 too. Now I got to refigure this and see, like, well, man, North Carolina, they're 7-1, but they play in the ACC. Penn State, I don't believe in Penn State. Franklin's been there X amount of years. They're around the same team. I forget it. North Carolina's number 15. And then you got to rejuggle things, and then you find out, like, oh, man, now Tulane, I had them at 25, but now I guess they're out. You know what I'm saying? So it's a juggling act, man. It's not an easy thing for anybody out there. So, and another team I'm looking at, and that just popped up that I saw that they're rocking at 18, Oklahoma State. Now, Oklahoma State, I've been riding with y'all since the Big 12 basically said they're not going to be a conference anymore with Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC. What y'all put on the field last week, 48-0, I'm not sure you guys should be ranked. I'm not sure you should be ranked right now, Oklahoma State. That was very bad for Oklahoma State. And it was very bad for the Big 12, to be perfectly honest, because they were the favorite coming into the season, and you get blown out 48-0 to a backup quarterback. Not a good look.
518-1410, 518-1410. Kev, who's kicking us off here?
We got Cliff on line one.
What up, Cliff? How are you, sir? It's been a while.
Yes, sir. I got a question.
Yep.
Why is college football the only sport probably out of any sport that you have to be one loss, undefeated to make the playoffs? Football, NFL is not like that. I'm not sure about baseball, but most sports are not. You have to be undefeated. You have to have one loss. You have to be Ohio State. You have to be this. You know, they have certain ways where people make the playoffs, even with 3 or 4 losses in the NFL or 5 losses in the NFL. If you understand what I'm saying?
No,
that's all I wanted.
No, and Cliff, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Kev, Cliff wanted to know. He thinks it's kind of silly that college football is the only playoff that, you know, we gauge them off of how many, you know, only one loss. They need to be undefeated basically to be in the mix, or we hold them accountable for one loss. Look, I think this goes without saying. There's nothing like college football out there. College athletics is very hard to, I guess, regulate. I mean, for one, there's so many teams. There are Power 5 conferences. There's independents. Imagine if the NFL had, like, of the 32 teams, how many? Imagine if 30 teams are in divisions and there's 2 independent teams, and they get to kind of just, we're going to only play the Texans, and we're going to play the Browns, and we're going to just play all these bad teams over and over and over. Imagine if that would throw everything off. It wouldn't make any sense. The NFL, pro sports, it's not even a comparison. You can't compare them. I mean, it's regulated. It's all under one umbrella. Everything is the same. NCAA is technically the umbrella, but you have every single conference that generates more money than the other one, that gets various TV deals, that has, you know, some of the programs have more money than others, even within the divisions and conferences. So now we don't need to spend too much time on that. I think it's obvious why. I mean, look, it's not the same. It's
not the same. And college football is probably the only sport that I can think of that is strictly opinion based. Yeah, we eventually get to on the field, and the teams finish things and handle business on the field, and ultimately we crown a champion. But for the longest time, you know, they had the AP National Championship, and then they had the coaches poll championship, and now obviously the BCS, and then now we have the college football playoff. It's so opinion based, and these opinions drive the sport. The opinions of the talking heads, the opinions of the fan base drive the sport. This is what makes the sport different from the NFL. There is no opinion about the NFL. You can have opinions all you want, but guess what? Come Sunday at 1:00, we'll settle it on the field and we'll see who's better. But in college football, you can lose and say we're still number one because we have Coach Nick Saban, or we got Coach Ryan Day, or we got X amount of draft picks going to the NFL. And in college football, that's what drives the sport. Left and right, the opinions. And why does it do that? Because you can tell it drives the sport, because what are we going to do in the next segment? We're going to do our NFL power rankings.
Yeah.
Because rankings drive the bus. It drives the bus, and it keeps people arguing, and it keeps people interested.
So, you know, just seeing some of the comments that are coming in here. So Shaw says, well, you know, Division I football, every other division or league has a playoff. From Pee Wee all the way to the NFL, D2, JUCO, all divisions, not D1, because they have to be the smartest in the room. You act like, David, you acting like you're the smartest in the room. Bottom line is, I don't think even if the division, if they came out and said we're going to make a legitimate playoff out of Division I, how are you? All Division I teams are equal. How? The MAC is not equal even to the American Conference. And the American Conference, there's a gap between them and the Power Fives. This is like it's too wonky, it's too top heavy, it's too everything you want to fill in. There's not a fair scenario out there. There's no that's what I keep saying is every time
Power 5 to Power 5 isn't equal.
Exactly. So I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's one of those things where everyone keeps the 14 playoffs not fair, and 12 is. And 16 is 24 fair, 32 a field of 68 in college basketball isn't fair in the eyes of many because of how many mid-majors win 28 to 30 games in the season and don't get an at-large bid, and it comes down to one weekend in March to go dancing to have a chance to play in the tournament. There is no such thing as fair. Stop with the boo-hoo, woe is me, oh, it needs to be fair. There's no such thing as fair. It's about taking making the best of the worst situation, which is we've tried to convince me and Kev and everyone that, hey, college football, it's all starting from the same starting block. It's not. It's the most unfair. Like college athletics is the dumbest thing in the history of the world that we've all just conditioned to believe in and say, oh, yeah, this is fair. It's not fair. Even the NCAA tournament, just because they have 68 teams, it doesn't mean that that's more fair than what football is. It's all not fair. There's nothing fair about college athletics. It really isn't. But
I'm not sure.
Entertainment.
I'm not sure if there's a fair way to do it.
Yes.
It's just not. They're not going to – these conferences aren't going to say like, okay, you know what, Big Ten, you guys got $100 million contract, but our contract is $200 million. We're going to leave $100 million on the table to make it fair for everybody. It just doesn't work like that. There's not going to be a situation like that. You want fair, you want equal, you go to the NFL. That's the fairest it's going to get because everybody operates under a salary cap. Everybody's operating from basically the same starting point. And that's just unfortunately the way it is. And lucky for us, we root for a team that's a half.
Yep.
Imagine being a person that, I don't know, they went to Indiana and they're a football fanatic. And like, man, our best year is 8-3. Like, we're operating
Bearcats are a fair team to bring into that.
Yeah.
Like, a good year for the Bearcats is not necessarily like it is a bad year for Ohio State. Well, we won 10 games, we lost 2, but we won 10 games. That's great. You ain't going to hear that like last year. Ryan Day, I think, was one of the first coaches shows he did this year. He said, no, last year the
Big Ten Media Days.
Yeah. He goes, last year was not Ohio. That's not what we do. That's not what we come together to do, is to lose 2 games, to lose to Michigan, to lose 2 games in the season and to not be in the playoff and a chance to win the championship. But so again, not everything is equal as far as that's concerned. Kev, or let's do one more.
We got Doug, line 3.
All right, Doug, what's up, sir? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing all right. How y'all doing?
Not too bad. Not
Good.
too bad.
Here's the thing about this thing. You have, like, I heard somebody say that they put LSU at number 10 to boost Alabama's resume. That's just ridiculous because if you've ever watched football since this thing, if Alabama wins out, they're in. It don't matter if they're playing LSU, Toledo, or whatever. If they win out, they're in because they're going to have to beat Georgia or Tennessee, which is going to be a better win than everybody else in the country got, and their loss is going to be better than anybody else in the country got. And another thing is, I mean, they say, why do you have them at 8-2? Well, because they're the best conference. An 8-2 team in the SEC is probably like an 8-1 team everywhere else. The SEC is the only conference that have 6 teams that can win a national championship. The Big Ten people are crying. They got 1 team that can win and 1 that's on their way. Michigan is making strides to get back to where they used to be at. But Iowa, Minnesota, them teams are never winning that. We can live to be 5,000 years old, and those teams are never win a national championship.
Hold on, Doug. So Mississippi State's winning the SEC? South Carolina's winning the SEC? Those teams aren't winning the SEC championship either.
Okay, what about the 6 teams that have won?
Name them.
I ain't talking about. If Tennessee wins, that'll be 6.
I mean, I'm old enough to remember when Tennessee was good with Phil Farmer. Yeah.
Yeah, but I want you to tell me this, Kev, and just be honest. What team from the Big Ten can win the national championship besides Ohio State?
Michigan.
Okay, I'll say Michigan. I will admit Michigan is on their way, but they just was in last year and they got the crap beat out of them. But I think Michigan is coming back to where they used to be. But outside of those 2 teams, Penn State, Iowa, Wisconsin, them teams that never, ever win a national championship. And you got to look about, okay, let's just bring recruiting classes up. I bet you SEC got 7 or 8 teams that recruit better than the third best team in the Big Ten. And then you say, well, what does that mean? Well, why does SEC got twice as many players that get drafted than everybody else? How does all that stuff not mean anything? And I'm not no SEC homer, but the fact is they got the best conference, and they show it.
I'm not,
win.
Doug, I'm not denying that they're the best conference. I never said that the SEC wasn't the best conference, hands down. Not saying that.
Okay.
But what I am saying is we can't go off of what these guys are going to be in the future. We can't say like, oh man, Texas A&M, you guys got the #1 recruiting class. Oh, we're going to keep rank you guys in the top 10. Oh, this guy's going to be a first-round draft pick in 2 years, so we're going to show you some extra love. Let's just focus on what's happening in this season. I'm not a big fan of saying, hey, you guys were the #2 team in the country last year, so we're automatically going to give you bumps for this year. That's why the college football playoff polls. That's why I'm not done. I'm not done.
Okay, go ahead.
That's why they have that's why, you know, people don't like the coaches poll that comes out in the preseason, the AP poll. And that is the reason why the college football playoff poll doesn't come out till November. So you can see games and you vote on what happens this season, what's happening right now. Last year has nothing to do with what's going on right now. I like to look at here and now, because if we wanted to play like all last year's games, then we could be like, oh, well, Tennessee, you guys stunk early in the season until you put Hendon Hooker in there. I'm not holding that against them. I'm looking at what Hendon Hooker is doing right now for this team right now. I'm not holding them back for what they did last year. I'm propping them up for what they're doing this year. I think it's to solely be about what you're doing in the 2022 football season, not what you're going to do in your future, not what you did in your past. Let's just look at this season and this season alone.
Well, I get that, but at the same time, to say that means 8-0, this team 8-0 and this team 8-0 is equal, and that's not the case,
right?
Because how you get to 8-0 matters,
right?
Who you beat matters,
right?
Just like who you lose to matters, and if if you're 8-0 because you've played a bunch of nobodies, and you're 7-1 because you've played somebody's, trying to find that balance of how do you reward the teams for winning, but not penalize the teams for losing, but also not normalize losing at the same time. It's a tough balance.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you brought up the stuff in the past, because people get angry at me, but like on National Signing Day, I say, hey, this is day 1 of the path to the college football playoff, not this upcoming college football playoff, but the 2 years from now college football playoff. Looking at the college football recruiting rankings from 2 years ago, that's not, well, how is LSU here? How is this team here? It kind of plays in. This is what I always say. Those recruiting days matter. Signing days matter, because
the Jimmys and the Joes,
common
for sure.
sense, when everything else is too complicated, we got to revert back to common sense. And common sense goes back to, well, look at the talent on this team. Like, but then you penalize them for not living up to the
but if that talent doesn't play up to snuff and you don't execute on the field and get wins, then you can't just simply say like, well, they got a good recruiting class, we got to keep them ranked. Well, what if they're 3-5 like Texas A&M?
But Texas A&M's not properly. Let's just we all just use them for the example because they quote unquote had the best recruiting class of all time. Don't you have another remote or show to do, Kev?
Actually, I do.
All right, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. We will be right back. A lot of people are heated about this. Shaw is driving me crazy over here. Like the college football playoff committee does not need to put LSU at 10 to give Alabama a shot. Alabama beating an unranked LSU team this weekend is just as good as beating a top 10. It helps that they're top 10, yes, but it helps what? It's not like, the committee is like, hey, we're going to take a bad Alabama team and put them in the playoff only because they beat this number 10 LSU team. Like the last caller said, Alabama wins out, they're in. It's not like they're going to be in because, Alabama won out. But the only reason they're in the playoff is because, remember, they beat that propped up LSU team back after the first college football play. Stop it. It's okay to be I'm questioning why LSU's at 10, but I'm also not going down the path of saying, well, they're only there to prop up Alabama. Alabama, Nick Saban, Bryce Young, Alabama, they don't need LSU to be propped up to help them. Stop. We'll be right back.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. Excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Fall into a new career. KTH Parts Industries has immediate openings, second shift production associates, and equipment technicians. Material handling experience is a plus. This is an excellent new opportunity that offers an attractive benefit package, medical, dental, 401k, attendance bonus, and a competitive wage, starting at $19.75 per hour with annual increases. KTH is hosting open interviews Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. through 3 p.m. Visit kth.net. KTH is an equal opportunity employer.
Hi, I'm Coach Jim Place, and I'm proud to support Tony Shane for Montgomery County Common Pleas Court Judge. I've known Tony and his wife Annie for a long time. Something that makes Tony and the great Annie so special is they are a team. They truly care about the citizens of Montgomery County. They were born here, they're raising their family here, and the citizens of Montgomery County are something they care very deeply about. That's why on November 8th, I'm voting for Tony Shane for Montgomery County Common Pleas Court Judge.
Paid for by citizens to elect Shane.
Houday Nation, Betfred has come all the way from England to the great state of Ohio with over 50 years of sports betting experience. No emperors, no movie stars, just a sportsbook you can trust. The Betfred Sportsbook app will be available on January 1st, 2023. Until then, download the Bengals app or go to betfredsports.com and have a chance to win Bengals tickets and exclusive merchandise. Official sports betting partner of the Cincinnati Bengals. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Do you enjoy sports betting and fantasy sports? If so, it's important to know that gambling's not a way to pay bills or earn income. Learn how to set limits and recognize the warning signs for problem gambling by visiting beforeyoubet.org. You can also assess your risk by taking the responsible gambling quiz. Beforeyoubet.org provides free resources to help keep gambling safe and fun for Ohioans. Be a fan with a plan this season and go to beforeyoubet.org to learn more.
When I got the news, I was shocked.
I was scared. I was angry.
When I heard it could be treated with the right care, I was relieved.
I was happy. I was given a second chance.
Urology Specialists of Ohio offers men peace of mind. 5 physicians and 5 locations. Now accepting new patients. Make an appointment with a physician that cares about your health and prevention. Urology Specialists of Ohio, Beaver Creek, Springfield, Urbana, Xenia, and London. Online at urologyspecialistsofohio.com.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Did you know that Masterforce has thousands of tools at Menards? Any tool you want, We have. There are hammers, drills, pliers, levels, wrenches, grinders, sanders, air compressors, nailers, workbenches, mowers, blowers, chainsaws, floor jacks, knee pads, work lights, fans. Whew. And that's just a taste. Want power, performance, durability? Come check out the wide range of products from Masterforce, exclusively at Menards.
Presented by Kentucky Fried Chicken $6 two-piece drum and thigh combo. Get tasty chicken, mashed potatoes, a biscuit, and a medium drink for just $6. Order now on the KFC app or at KFC.com. That's finger looking good.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash back with you on 1410 ESPN Radio. What are you laughing about?
Oh, Dayton International Airport offering nonstop service to Orlando, Florida.
Huh. I don't know. I'd much rather stay in Dayton. I knew a guy once that picked Dayton over Orlando, Florida.
What a dummy.
What a dummy. Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Man, how about last night, Game 4 of the World Series? It's a tough night for all of those out there that truly believe, man, Dusty Baker, he just doesn't know how to manage manage pitching in the playoffs. Well, combined no-hitter. How about that? Look, Dusty does have some flaws on the old resume, but my goodness, you managed 25 years, you win over 1,000 games, and he's managed some of the best players in the history of the sport, and he wins every single where he goes. Houston better win this damn series. By the way, it's Bryce Harper. Good for him. Stars like him usually don't win in the playoffs like this, and it's tough sometimes. Sometimes you have stars on the team that wins it, but he is single-handedly winning his team games. I think he's had 4 walk-off homers or game-winning hits in this playoff run. Pretty cool because, like I said, there's a lot of stars in the game, but rarely do you see stars lead their teams in baseball. It's we always say it's the ultimate team game. We say that about a lot of stuff, but it's true. There are times where there are good players on, great players on a team that played really well while the star doesn't play. Aaron Judge played horrible for the Yankees in the playoffs. I remember Alex Rodriguez when he was with the Yankees. Up until that year, they won the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Rodriguez was horrible for the Yankees. He made a ton of money. He was one of the best players all 162 games of the regular season, and then he disappeared come playoff time. I mean, it was painful. I remember that because I was in high school going into college around that time, and that was the big sports narrative at the time was Alex Rodriguez just disappeared in the playoffs. And they finally won that World Series. That's the last Yankee World Series, but they finally won that World Series, and he put that, whole narrative to bed. But we see that regularly. And to see Bryce Harper doing what he's doing, that's a cool storyline as well. They also switch managers in the middle of the year. There's, what I mean? Philly's a good story too, but I'm all about DB. I'm all about Dusty Baker. He deserves one.
Where did you come down with it being a team no-hitter as opposed to trying to let one guy get his no-hitter? Because no-hitters only happen one time in the World Series.
Well, if we're going to stick to the narrative that Dusty Baker likes to drive arms into the ground, then the Dusty Baker that everyone accuses him of being would have left the starter in. But Dusty Baker did the right thing. I mean, he was very smart with the pitching changes. I mean, a team no-hitter, I don't care about a team no-hitter. I know everyone out there oh, yawn, that's boring. I want the starting pitcher to get the no, and that's fine. That's great. But it's about winning in the
right.
It's about winning all the time. But I mean, to put the no-hitter of the pitcher in the World Series over putting the team's needs first, Dusty Baker made the right call last night. But that's what I mean. Dusty can't win for losing or lose for winning. He constantly gets ridiculed for it all. I'm a big DB guy.
For me, I wanted to see some history. Obviously, I wasn't alive for the first no-hitter in the World Series, but to see that happen would have been pretty cool. But you're right. You got to do what's right for the team. I mean, think about it like this. You keep him in and he loses it. He starts giving up hits, and then you put your bullpen in a bad position. And then what if the Phillies come back and win another game that they're down 5-0? Then what?
Yep.
Then you'll be 3-1, down 3-1 in the World Series. Chances you coming back from that are highly unlikely. So ultimately, they got the win. They got the team no-hitter. And if they win the World Series, it'll all be worth it. But a little piece of me as a fan was wanting to see a no-hitter in the World Series. And that also gets me to thinking, all these unwritten rules in baseball, you're not supposed to bunt when somebody's got a no-no going on. Does that still happen in the World Series? Are you still not supposed to drop a bunt in the World Series? You're trying to win the World Series.
Well, that's the thing. No one bunts in baseball anymore anyways. But yes, I see your point. My thing is, I'm the kind of guy has a perfect game going. I'm leaning into pitches. I'm butting. I'm leaning into pitches. I'm doing everything I can. I'm hitting it right back at the pitcher. I'm doing everything I can.
As you should. You're trying to get on base. That's what you're supposed to do. I never understood that.
All right. We welcome you back. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Mark Smith had sent in a message earlier. I got to find it. I know he messaged into the Facebook page earlier today, but he had said he read in I think it was I forgot what article he read it in, that the Georgia-Tennessee game is the biggest game of the year. There will not be another game bigger than this game happening this weekend. So he goes, is Tennessee versus Georgia a bigger game than Ohio State versus Michigan coming up later in the year?
No, because if all things go the way everybody expects, then both teams between Ohio State and Michigan will be undefeated the last week of the regular season.
See, I think it is the biggest game of the season, mainly because Tennessee's beaten Alabama. If Georgia beats Tennessee, that opens the door for 3 SEC teams to get into the postseason. If Georgia wins a close one against Tennessee this weekend, and then Alabama beats Georgia in the SEC title game, now every single one of those teams is going to be in position to make the college football playoff, to where Ohio State and Michigan will almost be viewed as a elimination game. Now, we're saying that now because, you know, Clemson's still in the mix and TCU's still in the mix and whatnot. But, you know, I said yesterday, the ACC will be done here shortly. Clemson's not winning out. I probably wouldn't surprise me to see Notre Dame beat them, to be quite honest with you. And
is that a preview for tomorrow?
I mean, we'll get there. But TCU,
we're always recording around here.
TCU, I don't have faith in them to win out and win the Big 12 championship and all that. Like, that's going to be. And then we get to the big debate. I've said this every year. The committee gets bailed out every year. They've never had to make a tough decision. They've already showed us now they're undefeated. Alabama has 1 loss, and they've put Alabama over TCU. What if we get to the end of the season and they have to make a decision for the number 4 spot? You have a undefeated Big 12 champion TCU and a 1-loss non-SEC champion, Alabama. What do you do at that point? Well, 4 best teams, Alabama goes in. I don't care how undefeated. The SEC is the best conference. You can't be penalized because you have 1 loss in the best conference while you're undefeated in one of the worst conferences. Those are the decisions I want to see the committee have to make. They get bailed out every year. You know, I told you on yesterday's show, someone said, well, they made the tough decision to put Cincinnati in last year. I was like, I'm not trying to devalue what Cincinnati did, but you remember the list of things that had to happen for them to get in? I mean, who would have thought that Ohio State would lose 2 games in the season and not even get to the Big Ten title game? So those are the crazy things that had to have happened for them to have a chance to get into the playoff, and they all happened. So that's kind of where I'm at as far as that. I mean, Cincinnati had to beat Notre Dame last year. I mean, that was an uphill climb as far as that was concerned, as far as expectations go. But no, the committee did not have to make a tough decision with that, because Cincinnati got in at number 4 over who? Who did the Bearcats make it over last year that was controversial? There was no controversy because there was no other team that deserved to go in at 4 other than the Bearcats. So I just want that chaotic year, Kev, where the committee, and I joked yesterday, I want the committee to have to, change their identity and have to go into witness protection after they put a team in over the other. Like, that's what I want. They've been bailed out every year. We only have a few more years of this 14 playoff stuff. So before it's over, I want to see them make an impossible decision. That's good quality TV right there. That's what I'm waiting on.
Outside of the top, let me see. Let me try to say this right. Somebody outside of the top 6 that you think can make the college football playoff.
Ohio State they were ranked 13 or 14 or something crazy like that in the very first one. Let me see. Hold on. Let me pull up these rankings. I don't know why I don't even have them in front of me already. Shame on me. Well, you answer that. For who is the team that you're looking at? LSU. LSU is the best team in college football. That is not in the top 4. No. So I have it up right. The team that could still make it run. So TCU's at 7. You're
so
the
cut line be 7. Anybody 7 and 8 and below. So let's say that TCU, Bama, Michigan, Clemson, Georgia, Ohio State, Tennessee.
To win it or get in?
To get in.
Let's see. Let me click on Oregon for a second, because it could be Oregon. Could be Oregon.
That blowout loss.
I don't like that blowout loss. But they blew out UCLA. And I think, who they play. So they're going to have a shot, Kev, because they're going to have Utah and Oregon State to close out the season. Now, as of right now, those are college football playoff rankings wins, 14 Utah, 23 Oregon State. And then if they get a Pac-12 championship, if certain things fall where they might, I could see them potentially having a chance. So anyone from 8 after, Oregon's the only team I see having a chance. And TCU, if they run into TCU in the title game and beat TCU, yeah, I do. I think Oregon has that chance. The only team out from 8 and back that has a shot to make it, I think, is Oregon at this point.
I think North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
I think North Carolina can make it. They play some great offense. They're a great offensive team. Drake May is a better quarterback than Sam Howell. That was their quarterback last year.
Yep.
Sam Howell was a pretty good college quarterback. What North Carolina needs to happen is they need Clemson to keep winning. They can't afford for Clemson to lose to Notre Dame. They can't afford Clemson to lose to their rival South Carolina. They need Clemson to be undefeated in the ACC championship game.
Well, it sounds like we're making the same arguments just for two different teams. I feel like the team North Carolina and Oregon are the same team.
But North Carolina does have a blowout loss.
But
that's
the
why I
blowout
would
loss
put them up
is
there.
against who's North Carolina's loss, and I agree.
Notre Dame.
Notre
They
Dame.
lost to Notre Dame by like 8.
By 8. Not a good or a bad loss. It's just it's a respectable brand, I guess.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look as alarming, I guess. But TCU. So very similarly, I know Oregon. Well, no, because TCU is not in their same conference. No, it's not the same argument. My apologies. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens out of the Pac-12. I think it's a long shot for both, but that was the nature of the question to begin with.
I guess it would be any of the Pac-12 teams if they have a one loss with Oregon, USC, UCLA, a combination of those, as long as they got one loss. And as we look at it right now, USC is the only one that doesn't have a blowout loss. And then North Carolina. I'm thinking, just looking at it right here on a piece of paper, because that loss USC had was to, who did they lose to? They lost on, sorry, I guess I should have had this up. They lost to Utah. They lost to Utah by a point on the road, night game. So I don't think they're out of the mix yet either. So long as those teams only have one loss, I think that USC, Oregon, and UCLA and North Carolina still have a chance.
Now, see, and it's because they don't have big opponents coming up that there's a gap between them. The team that Shaw is bringing up, Illinois.
Not a chance.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
Because the thing about it is
they lost to Indiana, yes, but like I heard KB and some others even say they might be the worst one-loss team in college football right now.
See, what we have to do is, Shaw, and I'm not ragging on you, is you have to you actually have to believe that they'll be able to beat that said opponent in their conference championship game. Nobody in their mind thinks that Illinois is going to beat Michigan or Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. Nobody. I mean, but it is foreseeable that, UCLA, USC, Oregon, a combination of those teams are going to play each other in the Pac-12 championship game, and they're all about the same. So anybody can win those games. And from what everybody believes about Clemson taking a step back and North Carolina taking a step forward.
Well, Shaw said he brought logic to a child's argument. I'm done. I'm done with that. Anyways, 518-1410. But good question. Kev just threw it out, by the way. If you look at the teams, TCU's ranked at 7 with Alabama in front of them at 6. But outside of, TCU at 7 is the last remaining realistic team that has a very, very
that
good shot
controls
at
their
making the playoff.
destiny.
Yes,
kind of
that's fair.
conversation.
From teams 7 to 1, everyone controls their own destiny the rest of the way. From teams 8 back, everyone needs help. They're like the Bearcats last year. They did. Those are the teams that they need to do and hold up their end of the bargain for the final 4-5 games of the season. But they also need other factors to kind of play into that too. That was Cincinnati last year. They had to go undefeated. That was the first step. The second step was they needed chaos around them, and they got that. They need help. Teams 7 to 1 don't need help. They just need to win out, and they're fine. Teams 8 and back, they all need a lot of chaos to happen. So that's what we're kind of talking about here. But which team from 8 and back has the best shot at still making the college football playoff? Ohio State was ranked 12 or 13 or something crazy like that in the very first college football playoff ranking ever, the year that they went on to win a national championship. Again, that's they could do it. Anyone can't. Every situation, every season, every scenario is different. But nonetheless, we've seen crazier things happen. That's for sure. So earlier, Kev, we were talking about, what goes in, how come Alabama gets more forgiveness than other teams? They have one loss, but, they barely beat Texas A&M. If you recall, though, they did play back-to-back games without Bryce Young. I think that says a lot right there. You lose a Heisman winning quarterback and you still go on to win a couple games, even a tough one on the road in a tough environment. I don't care if it is a 4-loss Texas A&M team in a rivalry game. That kind of matters a little bit. But no one feels sorry for Alabama, and I don't expect you to. But Kev, in 2020, the top 5 recruiting classes in 2020, Georgia, number 1, Alabama 2, Clemson 3, LSU 4, and Ohio State 5. So when we say, well, Ohio State, they've played nobody just like Michigan's played nobody, how come Michigan's getting penalized for playing nobody, but Ohio State's best win, they've played nobody, is the same as Michigan's? How come they get propped up? This is why right here. Recruiting matters. Okay, you don't have to like it, you don't have to agree with it, but it does matter, because that's what the committee is sitting back and saying is like, well, look at these rosters. I said yesterday, there are certain programs, Kev, that I don't need to see them play somebody to know that they are somebody. Is that fair? No, but I think we've established there's nothing fair about this playoff format. And to counter that, there is no such thing as a fair format to counter this format with. We just got to kind of get over it. So I think that's why Ohio State gets the extra love at number 2, even though they have the same resume as Michigan and they're undefeated. And Michigan's the reigning Big Ten champion, because you're looking at those rosters, and Michigan's not a bad roster by any means. They're doing a very good job. They replaced a lot of NFL guys from last year. They're doing a very good job. But again, they're not flashy. They're not popping off the page. Ohio State checks off the weapons and the flashy play and the coach and everything else. That's why they're getting that forgiveness. LSU's at number 10 in the rankings, Kev. They had the 3rd best recruiting class that year. Okay, they lost some of those key pieces when Chip Kelly came in. Maybe they're getting a little forgiveness because, hey, he's lost players. It's his first year, and they're still playing at a high level. They're getting better as the season goes on. Maybe that's the human element involved here. But guess what? LSU's not getting that bump if they don't recruit well in seasons past. Even though they've lost some players, a good chunk of those guys still remain on this roster, Kev. Clemson had the number 3 recruiting class in 2020. That's why, despite them playing nobody, Kev, that's also a program that's won a lot of national championships over the last 6-7 years, and they have a lot of really good players. So what the committee is looking at is like, well, like I know Clemson hasn't technically beat anybody, but I mean, we know they're good. We know that they have more talent than anyone else in their conference, and they're undefeated, and they're winning football games and blah, blah, blah. So whether you like it or not, I do think that these matter. It's not a coincidence, Kev, that Ohio State, LSU, and Clemson and Alabama, they're all getting favorable love in this year's college football playoff ranking. And I think it's all chalked up to, well, look at the players. Look at the previous recruiting classes that have built up to who they are right now. I agree with you. It's not about who they can be in the future. That's why the Texas A&M thing always bothers me. Why are people using that argument? Texas A&M, how could they be bad this year? They had the number 1 recruiting class. That class this year doesn't matter until the next year or two after. That's why, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If he can keep it intact. So that's why I think that these recruiting rankings matter so much, because Alabama, well, they already have a loss. How are they being ranked ahead of an undefeated TCU? It's common sense. They have the better players. They have a Heisman winning quarterback. They have the best coach in college football, and it's Alabama. I don't think we really need to convince anyone. We just know. Fair or not, I think that's what plays a role.
Yeah, it plays a role for sure. I'm just not sure if it should. I think we should worry about what happens here and now. And I think like those things are fair for the preseason poll, that coaches poll and the AP poll about what you did last year. But if the college football playoff poll is supposed to be about this season and they have the first recruiting rankings come out a day before your birthday, then it should solely be about this season. It shouldn't be about.
But it is. These are the guys on this season. That's what I'm trying to say, though.
Yeah. I'm saying what you're saying is correct, because you can't get to destination A without, you know what I'm saying, the recruiting rankings. So I don't have a big problem with it. Now, if the committee chair comes out and says something along the lines, well, you know what, Bryce Young, he's going to be the first draft pick in the NFL next season, but he's thrown 15 interceptions. He's still going to be the first pick, so we got to rank him high. Like, I would have a problem with that.
That's fair. Because the teams were debating about, like, LSU's the only one I'll give leeway on scratching your head as to why. However, those out there that think the only reason they're there is to prop up Alabama, Alabama doesn't need them to be propped up. They just don't. Shaw said Texas is at 23 with 3 losses because to prop up Alabama, they don't need to prop Texas up for that. Texas is there because
Texas is their own brand anyway.
Yeah. Texas is there because they have 3 losses, but they're also being forgiven for those 2 of the 3 because they were without their starting quarterback. That's been talked about many times across all college football, media platforms about how and Jason Fitz has said it on the show almost every week. The media or the committee accounts for injuries. That matters. And I think that's the other reason Ohio State's getting as much love as they are. They have 2 wide receivers that if both can come out of this year's, and enter next year's draft, Ohio State would have back-to-back drafts with 2 wide receivers going in the top 10. And And they don't even have Jackson Smith and Jigba right now. Otherwise, they'd have 3 wide receivers after losing Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson from a year ago. I think that's pretty dang impressive. And they haven't had the running backs on the same page since the beginning of the season, with both kind of bouncing back and forth with injuries. Don't feel sorry for them, not asking you to, but it's still freaking impressive what they've been able to do even without it. A bad game for Ohio State, still putting up 40-plus points. That's what's crazy.
Facts.
All right, let's go to Nick. Nick, thanks for holding, sir. How are you?
Oh,
Nick, hey.
Oh,
all right. It's the is Sean hold?
He is.
He can wait a little longer because we got to get to this. We'll get to him when we come back. Well, you're going to deal with him. Fair?
I don't have a choice.
You don't. It's the Kev Nash Show right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Open wide. Let me see that smile.
There's a back-to-school braces boom at Doc Kelly's office.
Can you hold on for a sec? Can someone bring me more broccoli?
She needs to realign her staffing plan with more registered dental assistants.
Can you reorder the rubber bands in red?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
You can't get much for $5 these days, unless you go to Wendy's for a $5 Biggie Bag. Get your choice of double stack, junior bacon cheeseburger, or crispy chicken BLT, plus 4-piece nugs, fries, and a drink, all for just $5. That was smooth, wasn't it? That's how you're going to feel when you get that Biggie Bag at Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Includes 4-piece nuggets, small soft drink, and small fry. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
Today on Hey Culligan, reverse to reduce. Here's Bob.
Hey Culligan, I love fresh water, but I got plastic bottles coming out.
Whoa, Bob, you are not kidding about the bottles. But did you know Culligan's reverse osmosis and always-on drinking water systems provide fresh, clean, delicious drinking water and help reduce the equivalent of over 15 billion plastic bottles from landfills worldwide?
Holy, fresh, environmentally friendly drinking water. Am I right?
Right, Bob. And we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test from a local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
Jamie's log, Progressive, the Harrington's backyard, day 27, 3:33 a.m. 333. All those threes mean something, or I may be losing it. Been camped in the Harrington's backyard for 27 days now, proving that Progressive has 24/7 protection. They told me every day they understand what 24/7 protection means. Think I'm finally getting through to them. 333.
Progressive doesn't just offer a great price when you bundle home and auto. We offer round-the-clock protection, just not literally from Jamie. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers, and subject to policy terms. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
O'Reilly. See better and drive safer with Rain-X Advantage wiper blades at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, purchase a pair of Rain-X Advantage wiper blades and get a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate, plus 2 times O Rewards points. Our professional parts people will even install your new wiper blades for free. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Yo, Pablo Torre here, host of the ESPN Daily Podcast. When you want to go beyond your feed, when you want to get inside the score, when you want to get behind the highlight, there's ESPN Daily. Go deeper into the stories of the moment. Get the exclusive access and insider perspective that only ESPN can give you. ESPN Daily, hosted by me, Pablo Torre. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Everyone can help keep our roads safe. When making a wide turn in a bus, they'll remember to be careful. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Visit www.sharetheroadsafely.gov. Paid for by FMCSA.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be clear and sunny, a high near 72. Tonight's going to be nice and clear, a low near 50. And tomorrow's going to be clear and sunny, a high near 75. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. 98% of their customers recommend Cullet. If you wouldn't recommend your current supplier, check them out at culletpropane.com.
Hey, Buckeye fans, as the official wing sponsor of your Ohio State Buckeyes, Roosters is giving away 12 trips for two to this year's Buckeye Bowl game. Each trip comes complete with airfare, hotel, gift bag, and 2 tickets to the big game. One bowl prize winner chosen each week, along with other cool Roosters weekly prizes. So register every week at roosterswings.com. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Official contest rules at roosterswings.com.
At Progressive, you can get 24/7 protection, even if you break the space-time continuum.
Wait, every time you wake up is the same day? That's terrible.
Don't worry, I call Progressive. Their 24/7 protection still works even if my day does last forever.
Yeah, but don't you want it to end?
Are you kidding? I win the lottery whenever I want and never regret anything. It's the best.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Progressive offers more than a great price when you bundle home and auto. We offer round-the-clock protection, which literally means anytime. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers, and subject to policy terms. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
You can't always see bad weather coming, so it's essential that you're able to see through it when you drive. Michelin wiper blades with advanced technology hug your windshield like a Michelin tire hugs the road, channeling away water, snow, and ice so you can see clearly, drive confidently, and breathe easy. Michelin wiper performance, clearer than ever. Upgrade to Michelin premium wipers today at Walmart, Amazon, Tire Kingdom, and other fine retailers.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
See Columbus Equipment Company, 7570 New Carlisle Pike in Dayton.
Cleveland Cavaliers top 4 team, or top 3 team. They're technically a top 2 team right now, but that's a team that can win an NBA championship, Kev.
Loved it last night. What a game last night.
Am I overreacting to 7 games? I don't think I am, but am I overreacting? Donovan Mitchell has a habit of doing this, though. He's like the Amari Cooper of the NBA, where they have big games early, and then as the season goes on, they kind of just – I'm waiting like this Amari Cooper thing. I love what I'm seeing out of him in Cleveland right now, but the complaints of Amari Cooper in Cleveland were never – or in Dallas were never – oh, yeah, he just doesn't show up. No, he shows up, and then he's big. The quarterback, Dak, relied on him so much.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it got time to get to the biggest portion of the season, he disappeared in big games. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's Donovan Mitchell. That's what the problem was when he was at Utah, is everything that was kind of happening there. So I'm curious, does that play a role in the back area? Because that's one reason, too. Like, everyone loved him at first, and then there was that weird criticism that started coming in because, like, he didn't disappear. He disappeared in, like, the fourth quarter. He just wasn't hitting big shots. But, my God, he has just been unfreaking stoppable. And then Darius Garland last night comes in. He still has that eye is puffed up. Like, you don't believe. He drops 30. They won in Boston last Friday night, whatever it was, in overtime.
Yep.
And then they last night go into overtime and win again. This is the most fun. I talked about it on yesterday's show. This is the most fun I've had watching the NBA in quite some time, mainly because I'm one of those guys. I tune in for the players. Big LeBron guy. I'll tune in to watch LeBron, tune in to watch Kevin Durant, and tune in to watch, like, the stars. But I'm not a Memphis Grizzlies fan, but man, I'm going to watch Ja Morant.
Mm-hmm.
It's different with Cleveland. And I'm one of those hypocritical fans. If you're bad, I'm not watching. I don't care. I'll watch a bad Browns team. If Ohio State has I watched the Fickle year. Wasn't on Fickle. I get that. But the Fickle year, I watched. Did you not watch? We watched every Buckeye game that year. Okay. The NBA's, the Cavaliers, I don't have that allegiance to like I do my other teams, but when Cleveland is good, Kev, that's as fun a team to be a fan of that's out there. That energy, they have a youthful flair to their arena with just the way the fans react, and they have a youthful flair to their roster right now too. I think this is fun. This is the most fun I've had watching NBA, honestly, since LeBron's first go round. I enjoyed it when he came back. Like, it just had a different vibe to it. But the youthful innocence of this team and the way the roster was constructed and the development of the draft picks, and then adding guys like going out and getting Karis LeVert last year, and then obviously trading for Donovan Mitchell, not giving up an astronomical amount. You give up Colin Sexton, who basically you just traded him for him. Basically, I love this Cavs team. They are fun to watch. And Jared Allen, thank you, Brooklyn Nets, for being a horrible organization.
You took the words right out of my mouth with the Jared Allen take. The Cavs are super fun to watch. I just winning a NBA championship, I'm not willing to go there yet because there's still this guy up there in Milwaukee that I'm terrified of, who I think is the best player in basketball. So, but they're so good. They're the number one 3-point shooting team in the NBA. And that was before Garland got back last night. So you add another lethal shooter to that. You know, Dean Wade is drilling threes and playing defense. Kevin Love is vying for 6th man of the year. And this is Evan Mobley hasn't even got going yet. Evan Mobley is still being basically used as a rim runner. He's not being used on the pick and pop yet. He's not being used as the offense is going through, and he's still averaging a double-double. Yep. He's just out there just being him. So they're not even running the offense through him yet. So, you know, once we get to like February, March, and everybody's clicking on all cylinders, they're going to be very scary. So I'm still holding firm that there'll be minimum 4 seed in the East, but the way they're playing early now, they look good. I mean, you already got 2 wins over Boston early. So these games that they're playing in November, like we don't think about them until later in the season. But when those tiebreakers come into effect, all these start to matter. So keep winning games versus entertaining and high-level teams because, I mean, that was a high-level basketball game last night. High level. I mean, I won't say playoff basketball, but it felt like, this is for seeding. Yeah. This is like for seeding. I mean, Jaylen Brown had 30. Obviously, Tatum was out there balling, had that dunk to tie the game up to go to overtime. Like, it was high-level basketball out there. So if you just remove your Cavaliers fan hat and watch it as a basketball fan, that was the game of the night last night.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that in a moment. I love the fact that the NBA, the teams to watch are your Memphises of the world and your Milwaukees of the world and your Clevelands of the world. Is that good for, you know, finals, TV ratings, all that? That's not for us to care about, to be quite honest. We're going to be entertained no matter what. But at the end of the day, the NBA, the parity in the league is back. I did a topic yesterday while you were out that LeBron and KD are saving the league the way that Magic and Bird did. Everyone's like, what the hell you talk about, Kenner? I said, they're saving the league because while Magic and Bird on their great teams save the league, LeBron and KD are saving the league on their bad teams because now it's a copycat league. If KD and Kyrie, despite all the distractions, prove that they can win and dominate, guess what? Guess what every team's going to do from that point on? You know what? It's going to be noisy. It's going to be distraction. But, hey, you know, as long as we win, that's all that matters. LeBron, Westbrook, AD, everything. Well, you know, it's noisy, it's distractions, but look, all they're doing is winning, so who cares? Let's do what they're doing. Now you look at the noise and the distraction and the chaos that's going on in Brooklyn and the noise and the chaos and distraction that's going on in LA, and they have they have the coolest looking rosters. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, it's scaring teams away from doing that. They are not going to blow like the Cavs. If that was working in Brooklyn and working in LA, the Cavs would almost be tempted to blow up this young roster because, hey, the only way to win is to counter LeBron, KD, and Westbrook with a KD, LeBron, Westbrook type roster. Same thing in Brooklyn. But these teams, they're laughing at Kyrie and KD. They're laughing at LeBron and Westbrook and Anthony Davis. LeBron, I mean, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. And I love LeBron James, but Kobe Bryant I think he wants to come out of his grave and come kick LeBron's ass because they did a championship celebration because they won their first game in 6 tries last week. That was embarrassing. But
was it for the win in the first game or for Coach?
It was for Coach. Hey, I get that, but you know how people could twist it, but it did look kind of goofy. But point is I think they're saving the league because I think that was bad for the league. Last 10 years, it was good come playoff time. It was good for those big-time finals matchups. But overall, like you talked about last night, it felt like a humongous game. I can't tell you the last regular season game I watched. We were at Kramer's last night. I had a couple of them 40s.
Hey.
I love that damn pizza, by the way. And we're all me and some friends, like we are all on our feet watching the final moments and overtime of that game last night. I don't know the last time I've ever done that for an NBA game that wasn't the playoffs or in, you know, point is, this is good for the league. The Memphis Grizzlies with Ja, that's great for the league. This Cavs team, who has always been known as LeBron's team, now they're being viewed as the Cleveland Cavaliers, who drafted and developed, and they did the right things, and they bring in Karis LeVert, and they go get Donovan Mitchell. And really, a lot of the shift started when they went and got Jared Allen from the Nets. So big fan of the Cavs right now. Don't care if I'm a bandwagon Cavs fan, whatever. I don't really care. Point is, you could be a bandwagon fan too. They're fun to watch. Go watch them because that was cool last night. Let's be honest.
I have an NBA hot take. Kyrie Irving will not play in the NBA next year.
That's okay. I don't know, man. I'm always like tiptoeing whether to get into all that stuff that's going on because it's just not. It's noise and it's not basketball,
right?
And it's just, I thought the league worked too hard. to send a message over the last 3 or 4 years to get into this with what's going on with him. It's just almost like whether it's fair or not, it's going to be skewed into using that against that race and everything. Like it's just not. It's a very weird situation going on, and the league just keeps letting it go. Like it's no
He
big
should be
deal.
suspended.
Like,
He should
it's
be
so crazy.
He should have been suspended. They already set a precedent about Anthony Edwards when he made some comments on Twitter that he got suspended for like 1 or 2 games this year. Kyrie should have been suspended as well. It's nothing really to talk about. There's nothing to discuss. What he put up on his social media was wrong and it's foul, and he should be suspended and he pay the consequences outside of a monetary donation out of his pockets. I mean, he's a millionaire, and $500,000. I mean, obviously $500,000 from me and you is a ton of money, but to Kyrie Irving is not. So he needs to suffer the consequences for what he said. And I don't think that at some point everybody in the NBA, owners, GMs, are going to be like, you know what, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Yeah, you are a super talented basketball player, but all the extra stuff that you bring to our organization, we're cool with. And for Kyrie, I don't think it even matters to him if he plays in the NBA or not.
It doesn't seem like it because, my goodness, I mean, it's always something.
Yep.
Always something. And it's never about basketball with him.
Right.
It's never about basketball.
I got to admit, I was early on that train.
I know the message is that, it's more than a game and all that stuff. I get that. But at a certain point, the platform that you're using to voice your opinions on stuff is there because it is the game. And you can't just ignore the fact that, yes, it's more than a game. Yeah, but it's also a game and it's also a business. And it's not about the business. It's not even about the game. It's a mess. That's, non-basketball, basketball related only stuff here. The Cavs and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of feel good stuff happening in the league right now. Milwaukee, I know they seem like old news because they were the first to kind of do this, build organically. You know what I mean? And ads, like you go out and get, why am I drawing a blank on his Robin? Middleton.
Drew Holiday.
That's not a sexy name. Karis LeVert's not a sexy name. Darius Garland's not a sexy name outside of the Cleveland fan base. But like these are how you win basketball games right now in the NBA. I get it in the 2010s early on when LeBron joined the Heat.
Stars.
All that, it was stars. And then the pattern was, okay, you had that roster full of stars. And it was to counter the big three in Boston, even though I think it was an overrated big three as far as championships are concerned, but it was still a team that you had to counter and a team LeBron couldn't overcome when he was in Cleveland the first time. Then teams started building to go against the Heat's big three. And then a weird big three, big four developed in Golden State organically, and instead of letting that be the face of the new era of basketball, it became ugly again, not in a bad way, but just it became the villain because Kevin Durant went
right.
there. So then instead of that was the true organically built championship team, but then it kind of got a weird asterisk next to it because that's where KD went. I didn't have an issue with him leaving OKC. I just didn't like that he went to Brooklyn or to Golden State. But we've had that debate before, but the point is this now, like the league's starting to get back to the Bostons of the world, organically built through the draft and then adding pieces around it. Same thing in Milwaukee. Hell, the team that won the championship last year.
I was just about to say that.
Back to that. And it was a finals of 2 organically built championship teams. That's what I like about where the NBA is right now. You still have your stars everywhere, but now I feel like every year going in, I don't know who's going to win it this year. And that's what I hated about my time in college from 2000. I was in college a long time and I'm not a doctor, but no, like from, most of my time in college and after graduating, like the last 10 years of the NBA, it's just been, it's the Heat's to win as long as they don't get hurt. And I know they lost 2 finals in that too, but you know what I'm saying. Point is now we have no idea. This Cavs team has as good a chance to win as any. This Cavs team does not have a good a chance to win if we're playing in the 3 megastar era. So that's what I like about it. So
yes, definitely a new generation. And that's what people got to realize, man. These dudes don't play forever. I know LeBron has been in the league for 20 years. KD has been in there for like 17 years. All this comes to an end, and there's a new wave of players that come up. You look at Donovan Mitchell, he's only 26 years old, so he's still going to be playing in the NBA for quite some time. So, this thing just keeps on rolling, and we're in a new era of basketball. And from the looks of things, man, the Lakers and the Nets are going to be watching the finals.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Josh Maloney says, Mike Thomas out the rest of the season. Stop me if you've heard that one before. Josh, we believe you, but we just have to confirm that. But I do believe you. I just gotta.
Is it wrong that I immediately went to my fantasy team to drop him before I went to go double check it on Twitter?
We just gotta confirm that. But that's man, what a weird couple years for him. And Calvin Ridley, I mean, from the Falcons, of course, getting traded to the Jags the other day.
I saw that.
Like, just a lot of weird shakeup in that division as far as weapons and wide receivers are concerned. So, yeah.
Yes. Added Thomas's toe rehab did not go well. He will need surgery.
Softest toes in the business.
Turf toe. He got that Shaq toe.
Oh man, Rashad Bateman. So William Yelly, I appreciate our producer listeners coming in clutch here. Rashad Bateman out for the Ravens for the season as well.
What other old receiver are the Ravens going to go get now?
But they got the is it that those are the only guys I can go get? No one wants to play with Lamar. All right. 518-1410, 518-1410. We were talking college football playoffs earlier, just all the chaos that comes out of that. Someone sent in a note asking, is it even necessary to have 25 teams in the college football playoff rankings? And then I was about to say, well, yeah. And then I'm like, well, no. Does anyone why do we have 25? Like, it's college basketball and football and a lot of rankings. But I never look at Kev and say, hey, Kev, what's your top 25 favorite movies? What's your top 25 favorite fast food joints? What's your top 25? Is it necessary to have 25 teams on the college football playoff ranking when, let's be clear, there's 6 national championship contenders, or at least I should say there's probably 3 national championship contenders, and then 6 playoff contenders, and then everyone else is there just I don't know. 25 teams. Is it necessary to have that in a college football playoff ranking?
Tradition. That's all I got.
But but even in 14, when they started this,
right,
it hasn't been around long enough for us to say tradition.
No,
right?
I'm saying like the tradition of the college football rankings from the AP poll to the coaches poll. I haven't been around since college football was invented, but like ever since I can remember, it's always been the top 25. You got a number next to your name. So like some of those traditions, I just don't think are ever going to go away. But is it necessary? Probably not. Probably should just do 10.
To be fair, I think it's more necessary for the 14 playoff than it was back when just the top 2 teams made it. I mean, at this point during the era of, well, the top 2 teams are your national championship contenders, and that's it. We didn't need 10. We didn't need 12. But with the 14, we always talked about Ohio State, I think, was as high as 14 in the first playoff poll that came out, and then would go on to win a national championship. So, but a lot of times in the 1 versus 2, once you got that loss, you were kind of toasted, right? Like it was very hard to play back into that. So I don't know. I don't really have a hot take on that. I'm curious. 518-1410, by the way, in the comment section, chime in. Is it necessary when they do these top 25 playoff rankings releases? Are 25 teams? Is it necessary?
Okay, here we go. Wow. The AP poll currently lists the top 25 teams in the nation from 1936 to 1988. The Wire service only ranked 20 teams, except for the years of 1961 to 1967, where they only ranked 10 teams. Currently, the AP top 25 has been going since 1989.
So, I mean, yeah, and I get that, but there's never been like a reason as to why. I guess I'm pretty sure conferences don't mind it, because I think if you only did a top 10, like at first I thought, I think it would be intriguing, Kev, to only do a top 10 and then to do because they do the top 25 and then they do the others receiving votes or whatever. I would rather I think you would add more intrigue to the top 10. I think if you did a top 10, that would be better. But I think what it does is it provides more resume points as far as like, oh, well, we beat the number 18 team. We beat the number 17 team. We beat the number 16 team. I guess there's that. But I think it would add more intrigue of, oh, man, if you're not in the top 10, the urgency, the panic of, oh, man, look at this team out of nowhere. They get a big win. Now they've cracked the top 10. Now you give the illusion that you're sneaking up. Like, I don't look at the 10 or a 9 team and say, oh, man, they have a shot.
Right.
But if we only released a top 10, I'd be like, man, LSU, maybe they do have a shot. I mean, they're a top 10 team in the country, right? I don't know. I think I would much rather have a top 10 rankings release for the college football playoff as opposed to the top 25.
Not bad. I don't have a problem either or, because the team that I cover, we're going to make it and we're going to win it.
Yeah. 518-1410. Someone said, is Shaw still on hold? Yes, I'm making him wait.
Let's make sure.
We're going to make sure? I want to hear you talk to him on the air.
Shaw, you still there?
Actually, no. Hold on. Put him back on hold.
Shaw is still here.
All right. Shaw, that you?
Yes, me.
All right. I'm not going to hang up on you. You better not hang up on me. No response?
I'm still here.
It's a good way to get hung up on. I want it to be clear. When we come back, we're going to bring you on. But I hope you got all your bad takes out in the comment section. You're not going to bring that on the air, are you?
What's a bad take?
Do you want me to start at the top, or do you just want me to give you a couple of your greatest hits?
I need to know. I need to know what my playing rules are, because you're the one that makes all the rules.
And you break all of them.
No, I'm just the guy who comes with another argument other than yours, and you don't like it.
Well, you can have a good argument. Kev has good arguments all the time. I don't talk to him the way I talk to you. Yours are weird.
Yeah, the weird thing is
you think Alabama needs LSU to get into the college football playoff. You think Texas is Alabama is so weak of a program that they need LSU propped up to get into the playoff.
Then you're using the past to justify this season.
No, you're using weird logic. We'll be right back. Shaw didn't hang up on him. He's still on hold.
I was about to say.
If you hang up on him, he gets all of his feelings. I'm just put him back on hold. He's on hold. Look, the camera. See? Blinking. Oh, you can't really see on the camera. Where'd it go? Yeah. Anyways, 518-1410. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. We'll be right back.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling, and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today. Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. Excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Menards is helping you save big money on your home with 11% off everything. Keep your family warm and comfortable with Knauf fiberglass insulation. Adding Knauf insulation in your home can reduce energy bills and increase your family's comfort. It's safe, easy to install, and made from recycled and natural materials. Get 11% off all Knauf insulation now at Menards. Good through November 6th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Hi, this is Greg McAfee reminding you that daylight savings ends this Sunday morning at 2 a.m. Please set your clocks back an hour and fall back. So breathe easy and choose McAfee.
Buckeye football season is back. That means tailgating and parties for the big game. You need the Lee's famous recipe Buckeye Bucket. It comes with 25 pieces of the delicious jumbo breast strips for only $44.99. Of course, you can add a few of their famous country side items, buttermilk biscuits, gallons of fresh brewed Lee's iced tea, or lemonade. You have the perfect recipe for a tailgate or watch party. Cheer on the Buckeyes this weekend with a Buckeye Bucket. Order today.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Have you heard? Kohl's Early Access to Black Friday starts tomorrow. And get this, you can earn $15 Kohl's Cash for every $50 spent. Save on an Amazon Kids tablet and earn $15 Kohl's Cash. Get a Castle on cookware set or Shark vacuum and earn $30 Kohl's Cash. Plus, take an extra 15% off. So don't miss out on these limited time deals. Amazon coupons do not apply. Select deals valid November 4th through 6th. Sharp deals and 15% offer valid November 4th through 10th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Uma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending Uma and their all-in-one phone, video, and collaboration solution.
Uma?
Yep. Switching to Uma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Uma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Uma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Uma. Smart communications for the smarter business.
The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help troubleshoot the likely cause of your pesky check engine light for free and get you back on the road. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Have you heard? $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring Class A CDL drivers for home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight with brand new equipment, and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, company 401k. Plus, they're now hiring recent truck driving school graduates. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
At Harley-Davidson of Xenia, the atmosphere is positively electric as we look to the future. Our name may have changed, but Harley-Davidson of Xenia has been locally owned since 1984. Under our new management, the staff and store are buzzing to get you set up for the open road. Whether you're shopping for merchandise, a new bike, or just need some maintenance on your current ride, Harley-Davidson of Xenia is here for you. Visit us online to learn more and to place a reservation on your new bike. hdofxenia.com.
The Ohio Education Association congratulates Amanda Hoffman, a reading intervention specialist in Springboro schools, this week's education champion.
Good job. What I find rewarding is when the students are successful. Awesome job. When they are very successful, I'm usually jumping up, very excited, and it makes all the difference because then you see a big smile on their face when you get so excited about it. A-N-D-N. Good job.
You want more local content from Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM? Make sure you subscribe to the WING 1410 Dayton YouTube channel, where you can watch all your local shows live or go back and rewatch previous episodes of The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, The Keith Byers Show, Talking Out Loud with Sully, and more.
Dayton Flyers basketball fans, starting next Wednesday, Talking Out Loud with Sully, presented by Timothy's Bar and Grill, will return to the 1410 WING airwaves. So we're pretty excited about that. Every Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m., Talking Out Loud, an entire hour dedicated towards Dayton Flyers men's basketball talk. So make sure you tune in every Wednesday moving forward. Friend of the show, Sully, is going to be hosting that, and looking forward to working with him again for another season. In fact, next Friday, Dayton takes on SMU.
Wow.
So that's going to be a fun one right there. But nonetheless, Sully will be out at Timothy's Bar and Grill on the air from 5 until 6:30, of course, for that 7 p.m. tip-off. And he'll be hosting that pregame show, that Dayton Flyers pregame show from Tim's next Friday night. So we'll have more information as we get closer and closer to that. But another year of our partnership with Timothy's Bar and Grill, I love that. So there you go. Love Tim's.
Shooter.
All right. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Scott Campbell says, Shaw's coming on next after the break. Let me get my DVR ready. People don't forget that, man. My goodness.
Fight.
They'll never forget that DVR comment from him. All right, we open up the show again. Kev was out yesterday, so we spent all day pretty much on that conversation of the college football playoff rankings reaction. And by the way, and your take on this, Kev, if this is a 12-team college football playoff, do we care about anything that came out yesterday or 2 days ago? So let me be clear. 12-team playoff is not going to ruin college football, but I do think it's going to just like this. I think this is fun. The urgency of you only have 4 more weeks to prove your worth. The urgency is there. The thing is with the 12-team playoff, Alabama had a TCU. Who cares? TCU's in. They'll be fine. Like at 14 playoff, all this stuff matters, and it's annoying because there's only room for 4. So if they're putting Alabama ahead of TCU now when they're undefeated and Alabama has 1 loss, that's annoying to people because there's only 4 spots. But if there's 12 spots, 12 teams, all right, Alabama, they're 6 and TCU 7. Oh, well, they're both safe. They're both getting in. Who cares? Blah, blah, blah. But even that loss against Tennessee, I'm looking at a lot of top 4s out there, like projected final top 4s, and Alabama's in none of them. Like that loss to Tennessee in the eyes of some is basically an elimination game. That's why the 14 playoffs exciting. It adds urgency. It adds intensity. It adds a lot of just, extra factors to why we tune into that release. People say, oh, who cares? Who cares? Everyone cares. The ratings on those rankings release shows show that people care. That's why I love the people that say, who cares? All that matters is the last one. That could not be further from the truth, because if that was the case, then no one would tune into these things. So I disagree with that idea.
So a couple points. When they do go to the 12-team playoff, instead of being so infatuated with this upcoming matchup between Tennessee and Georgia, we're going to be looking at games involving Penn State and Illinois, North Carolina, and whoever they're playing, because those teams that are in like the top 8, chances are they're going to make the 12-team playoff. The back half are less interesting teams because those aren't the super powerful teams that normally make the college football playoff. So that's not going to force people to watch these other teams more. It's just not, because we normally watch the big dogs, the teams that are always up there. You have to basically prove your worth for us to watch you. You know how long it took for Clemson to quote unquote prove their worth for us to care about what Clemson's got going on in week 4, week 5. My question is, when they do move to 12 teams, they're not going to start bringing out the polls in November, are they? They're going to move that up, right? I would assume that they will move it up to like the first weekend of October, because that's what that means is going to be more juggling going on. Because it's not enough games left in November. So a team down there in the 25, there's no way they're going to jump all the way up into the top 12 by the end of November, where there's only 4 games left.
Well, how do you do the polls with the 12-team playoff? Because they go the weak route of giving the auto bid to the conference champion. So you can't do polls with the 12-team playoff, like when that time comes, right? I mean, I'm sure there's a way, but like...
Well, there'll be the seeding, I guess, as opposed to a poll.
But when you have divisions within conferences, what if you have 6-0 on the East and 6-0 on the West? You just give it to tie goes to Ohio State because they're Ohio State. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not arguing. I'm just saying, like, I'm with you, like, they're, but I don't see how, if they're the top 5 bids or seeds or however you want to word that, are going to the conference champions, which I think is the dumbest thing in the world, because I don't think every conference deserves a team to get in every year. I just don't. But, it's just like so how do you do these poll reaction shows or rankings release shows how do you say, oh man, if the playoffs started today, here's what the field looks like? You don't know what it looks like because there's not a conference champion.
Right.
I mean, half the time we have North freaking Western in the Big Ten championship game. I mean, that's brutal. That's horrible.
Not this year. Illinois has got a lot to say about that.
And that's the okay. So Illinois, prime example. They miraculously, Ohio State, COVID outbreak, and all of a sudden all these guys aren't available to play that day, right? Like, and Illinois just plays out of their mind. I mean, it's not happening, but they play out of, they upset Ohio State, Kev. Now you got Illinois hosting a playoff game. You got Illinois in the Big Ten championship game, which is a problem in itself, but it's not a problem. The problem is if you do it correctly, which I think they're going to go away from that anyways, from what, there's rumors of as far as how they're going to structure that when UCLA and USC get here. But based on this, so Illinois, bad team out of that division, even though they're not bad, they're just good for their standards. But they upset Ohio State. They deserve to be a top 4 team in the country. That's just weird to me. That's just weird.
I guess we're going to find out in the next 3 or 4 years.
Illinois is not a good example to use. You know why? Because they're winning their games.
Right. That's
not a good example. The Northwestern example is the better one to use. A couple
like
years,
7-5, whatever.
When they had 4-loss Northwestern in the Big Ten title game years ago. Let's say they pull off the upset. So do you mean to tell me Northwestern deserves to be in the college football playoff? Like, that to me is so. I apologize. Illinois, they're actually a very good story, because that's not a program that you can't. It's hard to win there, and They may be the worst one-loss team in the country, according to some, but I mean, they're winning. It's hard to win football games. They're winning football games. So that wasn't fair to use them. So I apologize to Illinois for that example right there. But Northwestern is the better team to use as far as from previous examples of teams that have got to the Big Ten title game that, man, what if they accidentally end up winning this thing? Now you have a 3-loss team in the top 4. That is unacceptable.
I don't necessarily think they'll make the top 4 when they go to the college football 12-team playoff, but I think they'll have a guaranteed spot. And I guess it's kind of going the college basketball route where, if, there's a 8-8 conference team out of the Big Ten, let's say Minnesota's 8-8 and they win the Big Ten tournament. All right, you got your auto bid to the tournament.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean a 24-2 Ohio State isn't going to make the tournament. So they'll still be in, but okay, you stole a bid from somebody else basically, and you're in there, and now you travel to, Alabama, Tuscaloosa on a Friday night and go get your teeth kicked in.
Yep. So I don't know. Like I said, so Damon Hahn, where did Damon Hahn go? Damon Hahn goes, I don't think we should get caught up on the deserve as much as we do just win.
The Raiders just win, baby.
When you say, what do you mean? What exactly do you mean by that? Like, did you say deserve, or what? Do we phrase it that way?
I'm
that
not
they deserve?
sure.
Oh, maybe it's because I said, well, you think they deserve to be in with the 3 losses? No, I think that matters. I mean, right now what we're arguing is, TCU has no losses. Alabama has 1. Alabama is better than TCU. It's just common sense. I have no problem with them being ranked ahead of TCU.
So what if TCU was ahead of Alabama?
But that's justified too. I'm not losing sleep.
No,
over
I'm
it.
saying, would you have a problem with?
No.
Okay.
No.
Fair
I
enough.
would not have a problem with it. I'm just amazed at how many people have a problem with the other one. Like, you guys act like Alabama's 1 loss was against Texas A&M, a 4-loss or a 4-loss team or whatever. Then I would be like, okay, I can get the frustration. The number 1 team in the country had the ball last against Alabama, and that's why they won. And that's why you think they should be buried 8 spots back, because that's the thing. If TCU is Tennessee is the number 1 team in the country. Okay. They had the ball last. They made that field goal. If they missed that field goal, that means you would want Tennessee to drop from that. That's the difference between 1 and 8. Alabama should be behind TCU. That one, having the ball last, is the difference between 6 spots in the rankings. Like, come on, that's aggressive, and you guys know that. So no, I think Alabama, to be fair, you could put them above. If we're going to say, well, TCU hasn't played anybody, I'd put them above Michigan. I put them up. I'd flip-flop them in Michigan if that's the case. I wouldn't, but you see my point. That's why I'm like, okay, if you're going to say TCU, you haven't really played anybody, then you could easily justify flipping Alabama with Michigan as far as that's concerned. But is what it
My
is.
thing about TCU, they're playing with fire. You can't continue to go down 14 and 17 points and come back. I don't care what conference you're playing in. If it's in the Big 12, Pac-12, Backyard State Bowl, whatever conference you're in, you can't do that over and over and again, because eventually you're not going to be able to come back. Eventually you're not going to get that big defensive play or that stop to get your offense the ball back. So with them, got a noon kick versus, I believe they have Texas Tech this week. Don't do that. Don't blow it before you play at Texas.
Yep.
Don't blow it for yourself. Don't blow it for me because of my viewing habits. I want you guys to have a chance later and later into the season. I want you guys to have a chance when you go to Texas next week at 7:30 to say, like, okay, Alabama, they got 1 loss. We're going up against a team that got ranked because they play Alabama tight. So if we go beat that team by a double digits, what does that mean for us? So I'm rooting, much like yourself, rooting for chaos, so to speak.
Baby.
So, TCU, you've been playing with fire versus Kansas State. You've been playing with fire versus West Virginia. Don't let it happen again. Don't let it happen again, because you get down double digits at the wrong time, you're going to ultimately lose.
All right. So Shaw said they lost. TCU hasn't. And again, this goes back to TCU is not being punished. And Alabama's not being, Alabama technically, it's not TCU being punished. It's Alabama being rewarded, because you're punishing Alabama because they play a tougher schedule. Well, it's not TCU's fault. It's not, but it's not about punishing. It's about rewarding. I think Alabama, 3 points. Whoever had the ball last was going to make that field goal. And so that's the difference between being number 1 in the country and being number 7. That's weird to me. I'm sorry, especially when the talent gap and just the common sense gap between Alabama and Tennessee is so dang wide to begin with. as far as that's concerned. And then Shaw says that they beat, actually, you know what? Let's just bring him on. All right, Shaw, explain yourself.
It's not just Alabama, though. I believe they should be ranked ahead of Clemson. Like, look at the resumes.
So hold on. Before you go, Shaw, give me your top six. Give me your top six.
Just a second one to bring it up.
He's stalling because he doesn't know. He has to make sure.
Tennessee, Ohio State, Georgia, TCU, Clemson, Alabama, Michigan.
So how can you say that TCU is undefeated and that's why they should be ahead of Alabama, but Michigan is undefeated and you got Bama ahead of them?
I'm just rolling with what you guys say. Michigan's overrated, and they haven't played anybody.
No, I just asked you your top four.
And don't say that like a smartass. That's common sense stuff.
I asked you your top six.
Michigan plays different than anybody, so nobody likes them, and they look weird and blah blah blah. I mean, we'll see November 26th where they.
And don't forget, their on-field security staff is garbage.
That has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
So hold on.
What the hell you said?
We're talking about games now. We're not talking about what happened in a tunnel. We're talking about actually what happened on the field and what has Clemson done.
I'm putting you in timeout. You're going to come back with us. He's on hold. We're going to bring him back. Shaw, you're going to come back with us.
I need answers today. You can't have TCU ahead of Alabama because they're quote unquote undefeated and Michigan being undefeated and behind Alabama. That can't be the reason. I need a different reason for that.
So
if you want to say TCU,
it one more time for him because he's going to answer this when we come back.
If TCU should be ahead of Alabama because they're undefeated, that means Michigan should be ahead of Alabama because Michigan is undefeated as well.
All right, Shaw, I'm going to give you. Last time Kev asked you a question you weren't ready for. Your top six in a playoff conversation. How you didn't have that ready is beyond me, but my goodness. So get that ready, Shaw. Get the answers ready, and we'll bring Shaw back on when we come back. It's the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash, 1410 ESPN Radio.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Are you sick and tired of living with that constant pain in your knees and back? You know, joint pain doesn't just keep you from doing what you love. It affects your job, your relationships, even simple things like getting dressed. Hey, it's Keith Byers. It's time to call QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics uses advanced regenerative medicine to restore and repair damaged joint tissue, giving you your life back. Hips, shoulders, elbows, they can all be treated with natural biologics from your own body. Powerful healing agents, highly concentrated. If you're tired of steroid shots that don't work, or if you're trying to avoid surgery, call QC Kinetics now to schedule your free consultation. Learn about these exciting new cutting-edge treatments for pain caused by arthritis or injury. No drugs, no pain meds, no downtime. This is an all-natural treatment that can get you lasting relief. People here are raving about the results. Call now. Appointments are available for the coming week. QC Kinetics. Call 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325.
Your money has to go farther. So remember, everyday values are at only one place, Frickers. Monday, boneless frickin' chicken wings. Tuesday, traditional frickin' chicken wings. Wednesday is all about that steak. Thursday, frickin' chicken chunks. Frickers, where kids 10 and under eat free every day. Remember draft beer specials, everyday values, and kids eat free every day. The home for money-saving value is the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Yo-Yo.
As our Attorney General,
Dave Yost is keeping us safe.
he's protecting religious freedom. And he's fighting to lower healthcare costs.
Yo, Dave Yost.
Paid for by Dave Yost for Ohio.
For you and me.
Do you enjoy sports betting and fantasy sports? If so, it's important to know that gambling's not a way to pay bills or earn income. Learn how to set limits and recognize the warning signs for problem gambling by visiting beforeyoubet.org. You can also assess your risk by taking the Responsible Gambling Quiz. Beforeyoubet.org provides free resources to help keep gambling safe and fun for Ohioans. Be a fan with a plan this season and go to beforeyoubet.org to learn more.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's so easy to complain about why the committee does what they do, but then whenever it comes time to having to share why you would make certain decisions, then you start realizing that you run into a lot of the same hypocritical decision-making that they do based on our own standards, right? So before, Shaw just said that, well, it's absolutely blasphemous. Blasphemous, he said. Didn't, but basically that TCU, I mean, Alabama, wins should matter. Alabama should not be in front of TCU. But then we say, okay, Shaw, give us yours. But he has Alabama ahead of Michigan. That doesn't make any sense. Right? That's what I heard, right?
Yes. He had Tennessee, Ohio State, Georgia, TCU, Clemson, Bama, Michigan.
So we all, for the listeners who've been a part of this show for a long time, you guys are used to Shaw being wrong. And the best part is when we catch him on it. So about to bring him back on. But he said that Alabama can't be ahead of TCU because Alabama has a loss, but he's a Michigan fan. I don't get this. He has Michigan behind Alabama. One more time. His top six were what?
Tennessee, Ohio State, Georgia, TCU, Clemson, Bama, Michigan. That's 7.
But and the rule is you can't have Bama ahead of a undefeated team. Correct?
Yes, he said TCU should be ahead of Alabama because they haven't lost and Alabama has. So my question is, how come you have Bama ahead of Michigan?
All right, Lucy, you have some explaining to do. Come on, Shaw, defend yourself. That doesn't make any sense.
Because you only gave me time to say one part of the argument.
Well, it's my show, and when I call in on your show, then you can.
Okay, then let me explain myself and shut up.
No, you don't tell me to shut up on my show. Just go. I mean, you were wrong.
So
your logic's kind of weird, but keep going.
There's more to this. There's more to it than just the fact that they're undefeated.
Okay.
I'll give you the fact that Alabama. I mean, reason why.
But on the screen that you wrote, they lost. TCU hasn't. Those are your words.
I could have wrote out a soliloquy and you wouldn't have read it.
I just read it to you.
That to me.
I just read it to
because that's all I wrote. That's all I wrote. But there are
no. Then you said the games on the field need to matter. They lost. TCU
yes, the games do on the field need to matter. That's why Alabama's ahead of Michigan because Alabama has played more teams than what Michigan has.
More.
That's why Alabama's ahead of Michigan. Alabama played Tennessee. They lost to Tennessee, but they played Tennessee. Michigan's only played Penn State. The same team Ohio State played, and Ohio State showed that's probably not that big of a win now since Ohio State beat them. So that's why Michigan's getting punished.
So my thing is, and what I'll try to talk about in the first hour is, it's hard. It's hard to rank 25 teams because if we want to if we want to look through everything, I can simply ask you, then why is Ohio State number 2? If their big win is versus Penn State and it's the same big win that Michigan has. See what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to get into it like that with you, but I'm saying, like, you see how we can pick holes in everybody's argument? Like, that's what I'm my whole argument about all this college football stuff. Like, we can go to the cows come home and look at somebody's resume.
Because you look at everything. You're not just looking at one thing or the other.
So how do you look at it? How do you look at it?
Everything, yards per game, points allowed, points per game.
So you look at stats, you look at who you played. What else?
Yes, strength of record, strength of schedule, all of it. That's why it matters. Everything that you do on the field matters. That's why Tennessee's ahead of Ohio State.
Calm down.
That's why Ohio State's ahead of Georgia. TCU's ahead of Clemson because TCU has done more on the field than what Clemson has.
Based on what?
Based on they've beaten 5 top 25 teams in a row.
According to the college football playoff rankings or the AP? Because you can't use the AP because you say that those are pointless.
They should be pointless, yes. But they're out there, so why not use them?
Because then they're not pointless then.
No.
You can't use them to win an argument. Telling me that they don't matter.
It's two different arguments. Should the AP poll and the coaches poll not come out until literally right now? No, they shouldn't. But do they come out? Yes. So it's a data point, and yes, you can use them.
Okay.
That's two different arguments.
Okay.
And now there's a college football playoff, and no, we shouldn't be doing 25 teams. Top 10, maybe at most, but realistically, just release the 6 because that's all anybody cares about. That's all anybody cares about. The reason why LSU.
All right, Shaw, you got to calm down. You got to calm down. You're getting too angry. Shaw's still on hold. He still needs one. He has to explain himself one more time. He has to explain himself as far as why he thinks that Alabama. Why does he think that LSU?
Screen.
Yeah, no kidding. Shaw needs to explain why he believes Alabama needs LSU to prop them up. Does anyone else out there believe that Alabama needs them to prop? You could think that they're there to prop them up, but do you see how silly that says? Alabama does not need anyone's help. They have the best coach in the history of football. They have one of the best, if not the best, roster out there, right? Like, I mean, the Heisman-winning quarterback, one of the best, one of the best defensive players in the country on their roster. Like, they're fine. They don't need LSU to be propped up. So, Shaw, you got some explaining to do. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Get ready, Ohio. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to the Buckeye State. And to kick things off, you can get started with $100 in free bets as an early sign-up bonus. Plus, when you sign up today, use my promo code Kinner, Kinner. Then you will be all set for when FanDuel goes live in Ohio. Then you can bet on all of your favorite teams and all of your favorite sports with $100 in free bets. I think that's pretty cool. All you got to do is download the app. When you register, you use my promo code Kinner, my last name, Kinner. And then you're going to have $100 in free bets waiting for you in your account when sports betting goes live here in the state of Ohio. Just download FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. It is safe, it is secure, and it is super easy to use. Come on, Dayton, this is your chance to get in on the action. Use my promo code Kinner when registering your account today, Kinner. You have $100 in free bets waiting for you. Come on, it's a heck of a deal. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
The Ohio Education Association congratulates Amanda Hoffman, a reading intervention specialist in Springboro schools, this week's education champion.
What? Good job. What I find rewarding is when the students are successful. Awesome job. When they are very successful, I'm usually jumping up, very excited, and it makes all the difference because then you see a big smile on their face when you get so excited about it. A-N-D-N. Good job.
At Family Dollar, you'll find more ways to save, like digital smart coupons, including our Saturday Savings Pass, all in our app. Family Dollar, helping you do more.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code IMPACT at checkout. That's harrys.com, code IMPACT. Enjoy!
Have you heard? $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring Class A CDL drivers for home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight with brand new equipment, and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, company 401k. Plus, they're now hiring recent truck driving school graduates. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Hi, this is Eddie Sorrell, Body Shop Manager at Germain Honda of Beaver Creek. Our technicians have over 125 years of total experience. That means we can repair your vehicle correctly and efficiently. So when you need a dependable body shop, we're here. And we repair all makes and models with new state-of-the-art equipment to get you back on the road quickly. Plus, we offer loaner cars during service and free estimates. Stop by and see us. Germain Honda, Beaver Creek, State Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek.
Dayton's favorite, Casano's Pizza King, is open for delivery or carry-out at any of their 33 locations. Call 294-KING and see for yourself why the proof is in the taste. That's 294-KING. Pizza King.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
The OHSAA football playoffs continue this weekend, Kev. And, you know, it's interesting. I wasn't a big fan. We talk about college football playoff expansion and all this stuff when it comes to college, but high school expanded.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun. Like, so 16 teams in each region now qualify for the playoffs every year. There's a lot of teams with losing records that make the playoffs now. The only thing I have not done, I usually go and count. I got to go back and count to see how many teams with losing records qualified for the playoffs this year. Is it a bad thing in my eyes that more young kids get the experience of playing in a playoff game? I'm not against that, but I am against the idea of expanding it because I thought, like we've talked about this in the past, I've always felt that qualifying for the playoffs in high school football in the state of Ohio, that was such a big, because it was tough to do, that when you did it, that was on, like you would just remember do you want to win the state championship? But who cares if you win the state championship? Because it's so hard to make the playoff, that making the playoff is such an accomplishment. And that's what's like the GWAC, as great as that conference is. I think it's one of the best football conferences in football, but they haven't won a state championship. They technically could say they did, but they kicked the one team that actually won one out. So they don't get to claim Trotwood State title, do they? I don't know how that works.
Of course they do. Of course they do. Just like the Big East still claims the one and only title Syracuse got for them. And the ACC tries to claim it as theirs as well.
Well, then congrats. The GWAC has a state championship.
Definitely not.
It's tough to. So I wasn't a fan of that because I thought that, a lot of friends, or even, I know folks who are older, like when I hear them talk about, their class reunions. Oh yeah, we can't wait to kind of do a reunion with that 74 playoff team or that 95 playoff team. Man, I don't have that old of friends, just joking. But you know what I mean? Like it was that, like, I don't think that's going to be as much of the case now, because I think you're going to look around. I mean, there's 8 GWAC teams and 6 of them made it. Now, Wayne lost last week. Fairmont won in a very close one with them, and then Centerville beat Northmont. So they're out. Now, at least one of the 4 teams remaining in the GWAC will be knocked out this weekend, because Fairmont, this is why, hey, Fairmont has to play at Springfield. Fairmont had a great year. They've already beat Springfield, but now you got to run into Springfield again in the second round. So there's that. But yeah, I think 24-21 or 24-20 was the final. It's a week 6 rematch. So Fairmont's at Springfield again tomorrow night, as far as that's concerned. So, but nonetheless, it's going to be exciting to watch that. But I found these numbers. So the OHSAA sent us this. Couple did you know facts. And by the way, if you want to read this and have this for your own conversational pieces, go on ahead. Head to wingam.com. You'll see the article, the OHSAA football playoffs, how the seeds fared in the first round. So they expand the playoffs, and you have 28 16 seeds, 28 teams in 20 of each seed. So Kev, the 1 seeds, 28 1 seeds in the playoffs in week 1. Undefeated, 28-0. The 2 seeds, 27-1. The 3 seeds, 27-1. Now it starts to kind of come down a bit. The 4 seed was 21-7, 5 seed 26-2. And then the 6 seed 24-4, but it just kind of gets interesting from there. But there's a lot of did you know facts from the first week of the playoff, but I did find that kind of, fascinating a little bit. The reason I don't think the playoff should have expanded is because I don't know what that accomplished outside of, I guess, I don't know how the money flows in the OHSAA to understand.
Right.
Clearly that it was a money decision.
Well, I would like to ask somebody.
It doesn't mean it's a terrible thing. I'm just saying, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure if I saw the dollars of how much more they make by expanding the playoff, what that means. But when I see that you expanded the playoffs, you didn't do it for competitive balance reasons because, my goodness, 28-0, 27-1, 27-1, the 1, 2, and 3 seeds. Now, again, those winning percentages should be significantly higher. Those are the better teams. But
right.
There's being better teams, and then there's March Madness dominance right there for the 1 seeds. You know what I'm saying? 28-0, 27-1, and 27-1 for the 2 and the 3 seeds. That's it. Clearly, there's no justification for it as far as competitive balance is concerned because there was no competition, there was no competitiveness there. It was just straight blowouts.
The question I would like to ask someone is: was this done because there's more high schools in the state of Ohio than it used to be? Obviously, in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s. That would be my main question. Was this done because, all right, there's just more schools, so we have to expand it for that reason, or was it simply done because, all right, we're trying to have another revenue generator? That would just be my question. I just don't know those answers.
And by the way, real quick, Damon Hahn brings up a good point. Do the Browns claim the championships that came from the franchise playing in Baltimore? That's a good point. But you know what? Maybe they should. I think I am going to claim them. I think that. So now we have more, Super Bowls than the Bengals. So this is a great day. Thank you, Damon. I appreciate that. We got 2. I won't be greedy. We'll just take 1. We'll take this we'll take this last one. How about that? But nonetheless. But no, I found that to be very interesting. Some other did you know facts that, again, you can find these at wingam.com. But, all 28 1 seeds went undefeated, as we talked about. But Kev, the number 9 and the number 10 seeds went a combined 31-25 playing on the road. So those 8, 9 seeds, they all play. So the top 8 teams, or sorry, the 9 and the 10 seeds. So the top 8, so the top 16 seeds qualify for the playoffs.
Right.
The top 8 seeds host playoff games.
Right.
So the 9 and 10 seeds, those ones right there in the middle, they went 31-25 playing on the road for this past Friday night in the first round of the playoffs. So it's kind of interesting. So right there in the middle, but those are the tighter, you know what I mean? Those are the closer in, those are the tighter matchups right there. That's why in the NCAA tournament, I always love those, the 10 seed matchups and all those types of things. I always get a kick out of those. But the home teams, Kev, went a combined 178-46 in the first round. So very interesting. That was after the first round of the OHSAA state playoffs from last weekend across the state. But head to wingam.com. I shared it on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. But I thought that was cool that they did that. So coming across this again, it just gives the record for each seed throughout. The 12 seed, the 16 seed was 0-28. The 15 seeds were 1-27, as well as the 14 seeds. But the 13 seeds, 7-21. The 12 seeds, 2-26. The 11 seed, 4-24. I thought you would see those expand a bit.
Yeah.
I thought you would see as they kind of get into the middle. I thought you would see that expand a bit, but then the 9 and the 10, that's where it really expanded. That, the 9 seed was 16-12, and then the 10 seeds were 15-13.
Well, it goes off the point system. So I don't know, just from where I'm from up there in Cleveland, if St. Ignatius is, 5-5 on the season and they are the 5 seed versus another team that's 9-1, chances are Ignatius is going to be favored, and chances are Ignatius is going to win because of the teams, or the caliber of teams that they play throughout the rest of their season. So I wonder how that whole seeding thing is going. If it's just strictly on points, or is it strictly off of what you did in conference play?
No, that's fair. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know, and I don't know how accurate. We talk about the point system. We know how it works, but how accurate is it? Is it? And I don't know exactly how it works as far as down to the detail, but how accurate is it? Are we actually getting? I mean, are these? I think these 16 seeds going up against the one. I mean, it looks like it's pretty accurate. I mean, it kind of matches up. It should statistically match up to where obviously the higher seeds are beating the lower seeds.
Right.
So I don't think bad teams are getting overly ranked. And I don't think any good teams are hanging down in the bottom either too much. I mean, you're always going to have your outsider, your whatever you want to call those outliers. But nonetheless, it seems like it's pretty based on these numbers. I think because without knowing exactly how these playoffs rankings work, as far as they say points, and they've tried to explain a win over this Division I, whatever, it gets more points than others. But like, it's always strange to me. But
I have a question for a parent. Do they feel that their kids are safe out there? Because let's just say, I don't know, your school won one game and you're the 16th seed going up against an undefeated team. Obviously, there's a reason why the other team is undefeated. And there's a reason why your school has won, they're bigger, faster, stronger, and all that type of stuff. Do you feel like your kid is safe out there? Because that's what I would worry about. Like, wait a minute, be different if we're going up against another, run-of-the-mill team, but we're going up against a state power, and we're a small school, but we are in the playoffs because they decided to expand it. I want to hear from the parents. Do they actually feel safe sending their kids out there in some of these situations? Because that's where I would be worried about.
518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. Again, the playoffs continue. We called a lot of GWAC games this year. Of course, we did quite a few Fairmont games. But there, again, 8 GWAC teams, 6 of them qualified for the playoffs this year. 2 got eliminated last week. Centerville knocked off Northmont, as we mentioned, and then Wayne getting beat up by, I shouldn't say beat up. I meant beat out or knocked out by Fairmont. That was a good game, too. 518-1410. If you want to jump in on the conversation, you can do so. But the other GWAC teams that are going to be in action tomorrow night, Centerville is going to be hosting Marysville. Centerville is the 3 seed out of Region 2, Division 1. And then Marysville, the 11th seed, will be at Centerville. So the Mason will be at Springboro. Mason will be at Springboro tomorrow night. Kev, I know you were on the phone real quick, but so tomorrow night's matchups, again, Springfield's going to be hosting Fairmont.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I watched Fairmont 8-3. Fairmont's a really, really good team.
Let's get
and they're a 7 seed. They're a 7 seed. Springfield, really, really good team. They're 9-1. Their only loss on the season, obviously against Fairmont. So there's that. But Centerville's a 3 seed. They'll be welcoming in Marysville, and then Springboro welcoming in game. Mason. So, you're going to that game?
Yeah. So there's a quick story. Obviously, my godson plays for Centerville, so I'll be going to the game tomorrow.
Nepotism, my gosh.
Yeah, man.
Kids good
but my high school, the Cleveland High School Fighting Tigers, are playing St. Ignatius at home this weekend, and they put all their games on YouTube so I can watch all the games. Would it be foul if I had the game playing on YouTube as I'm at my nephew's game? Would that be foul?
I was at my sister's wedding. This past Saturday, and the whole time I have my phone like in the we're sitting in this pew, so I had to take what's that book about that guy, the Bibble or whatever it is. So I moved the Bibble
JC.
up. Yeah, I moved the Bibble up. And I put my phone in between that because I have one of those like little open cases. So then the Bibble went against the phone case, and then so the whole time I'm watching the Ohio State game the whole time.
Yes.
So I'm really passionate about this wedding. I'm really curious, Sean. What did you play high school football?
No, I did not.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, you're back on hold. We'll bring you back on in a moment. It doesn't surprise me. He talks like he played football.
You do too.
I played football.
Really?
Madden.
You got me.
Who else we got?
We got Raiders fan Jerry, and he alleged you said some strange things about my Pittsburgh Steelers yesterday.
Not strange things, factual things.
Yes.
Enlighten me, Jerry.
Yeah, narc.
Look, man, I as a Raider fan from way back, I was not a fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers of the 70s and 80s. But to hear Justin disrespecting
it's not a coincidence. This always happens when you're out, by the way, Kev.
Disrespecting the Steelers and what they've accomplished. I mean, it's one of the greatest franchises in NFL history. You have to acknowledge that.
I did yesterday.
I just felt like he should go ahead and explain himself to you and why he was poo-pooing Mike Tomlin, saying he's not a good coach.
I mean, how many receivers do they have to get rid of because he can't control them? I mean, my gosh, a player's coach. You have no control of your players. Antonio Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, now Claypool. I mean, my goodness.
Well,
They're
I'm
the worst
sure if
team
he'd
in the
have backed
AFC
up
North.
a Brinks truck for him, old Antonio would have been just fine. But he figured he could develop new receivers. Come on, jump in.
I mean,
Kev,
I didn't
tell him.
hear, so I'm gonna give Kenner an opportunity to say what he said yesterday to my face.
I'm gonna say different. So this annoying listener named Will Limmer, he hates my guts. Okay, don't know who he is. Maybe he's a good guy. I'm assuming he's not though, because only good people like me, and the people that don't like me, you're horrible people. Ollie, that's just that's how I operate. So he's going off on me, making fun of the Browns. This and I said, hold on, time out. Your team. You don't get to talk here. You don't get to talk. You are the worst team in the AFC North in a division that has a 3-5 Browns team, a 4-4 Bengals team underachieving, and a Ravens team that's accidentally 5-3 somehow. So you don't get to talk. You don't get to make comments about our roster. If I'm going to rip the Bengals all these years for not having a good offensive line and not knowing how to address it, if I'm going to rip the Bengals for all the bad mistakes they made, this is a Steelers team that everything that has happened with them over the last 7 years, if they did not have the colors, what's the color? The black and yellow.
You know what it is.
Oh, hold on here. So if it wasn't for the black and yellow, every team issue they've had, all the deficiencies they have, the horrible offensive coordinator that they have, they would be destroyed by the media for being a horrible organization. They get the benefit of the doubt because they're the Pittsburgh Steelers, and everything Jerry said is true. That's a great franchise from back in the day. I don't think they're a very good franchise right now. They're stubborn. They're locked in their ways. I saw the Ravens give up everything to go get a defensive player while the whole league's going to the offensive route. It's not a surprise that teams like the Steelers and the Packers and others, they're so caught up in the defensive side as far as putting all their resources there that they're falling behind. Defense wins championships. Well, that's fine, but it's offense that's going to get you to the championship, and they're not doing that. Offensive line is good. They're the Bengals. They're the Bengals. They're the Bengals.
Hey, Justin.
Yes, Jerry.
Justin, I can't be the only one. And look, and I'm a Raider fan, so I can't be cracking on anybody either. Don't get
your
me
team
wrong.
just got shut out. What
But
do you
how-
have
but
to?
how-
You
how's a
call in.
Browns fan-
You
hold on,
call
how's
in
a
and stir
Browns
the
fan-
pot. You stir the pot.
How's a Browns fan going to talk about how terrible Pittsburgh's been?
What do you mean?
How? You can't tell.
When was the Steelers' last playoff win? When was the playoffs? When was the
before.
Steelers' last playoff win, Jerry?
I don't know, Kev. Help me
Long
out.
time ago.
You know when the Browns' last playoff win was? 2020. You want to know who it was against? Pittsburgh. You want to know where it was? At Pittsburgh. You want to know who the quarterback was? The backup quarterback for the Panthers.
In 20 years.
Okay.
20 years.
So you just keep moving that back.
Seriously.
Okay. And?
I mean, do the Browns have more than one playoff win in the last 20 years? That's a yes or no question.
That does not matter. That does not. Look at all the Super Bowls the Steelers
you're
have.
talking about how
No, Jerry,
terrible
hold
Pittsburgh
on. Jerry, look at all the Super Bowls the Steelers have. Does that make their offensive line now great? Does it make their quarterback? Okay, so what the hell does the history of anything have to do with anything other than the now?
But I would trust Pittsburgh's front office way more than I would trust yours or mine, for that matter.
They don't be
because
bringing my
they don't
team into
lose.
this.
They don't have losing
The
seasons.
future for my team looks a lot brighter than yours at this point.
Well, I don't know about that. What?
No,
we're
I do
3
know.
and 5.
I do
We're
know.
2 and 5. Seriously?
Seriously.
We'll be 3 and 5 after this week. What's your point? I mean,
Backup quarterback, non-playoff team last year. You're a playoff team with a good quarterback, with a good head coach, and you guys are under. You get Devontae Adams.
right? We're underachieving.
It's
I
like
agree with
you
that.
add
Yeah.
weapons and get worse.
But let's not
My
get it.
goodness.
I didn't call about my team. I called about what you said about Kev's team.
To be fair, you brought up your team though.
So don't change this. Don't change.
I didn't change the subject, sir. You brought up your Raiders, which I thought was
Jerry,
pretty
I
super.
appreciate you. Me and Kenner
Because
handle
I was
this
saying
off the
I
air.
would not have the temerity to talk about Kev Nash's Pittsburgh Steelers
That's a
because I
big
don't
word
have a
for
leg
you.
to stand on.
Someone
I mean, I
was reading
don't,
the
compared to their
encyclopedia on the
success,
crapper
mine-
today. Good for you.
You don't either.
I don't either. What?
You don't have a room to talk either. Is my point.
I have 3-hour
Your
window
team
to talk
hasn't
every
done
day.
nothing either. Your team hasn't done nothing either, Justin. So that's all I'm
What does
saying.
that have to
Acknowledge the
do?
fact that you misspoke. You disrespected.
I did not misspeak.
Kevin and
I meant
team,
every
and I was
word.
just trying to get you to own
I
up to
meant
it. That's
every
all.
word. Hey, I need to go refresh my page. I'm sure another Raiders player just got arrested in the middle of our show.
Whoa, unfair.
Wow, look at
Unfair.
that. Nice. Oh, you talk about this is the team of Deshaun Watson, right?
Yeah, I don't make excuses for that.
Entanglements?
I acknowledge that.
You gave $250 million to a guy who's been accused by 26 women of sexual assault. Really? And you're going to go there?
I am going there because I think that's bad too. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm saying it's bad too. Your point?
Okay, well then don't be bringing up my team's foils.
You brought up your team, sir.
I brought up my team because I said I'm not. I have no reason to crack on.
Shaw, can you believe this dude? He's exhausting, Shaw.
And you think I'm crazy?
I do. We'll be right back to Shaw coming up in about 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the cover. Jerry, delusional Jerry. Somehow with a backup quarterback, a non-playoff team from last year, all the chaos, and somehow the Browns have a better record than his team. And he's going to call in, talking smack, black and yellow Steelers. Oh, Kev, oh my gosh, Kev. We'll be right back.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be clear and sunny, a high near 72. Tonight's going to be nice and clear, a low near 50. And tomorrow's going to be clear and sunny, a high near 75. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Ohio, DraftKings Sportsbook is coming. To celebrate, all new customers will receive $200 in free bets. Plus, 5 lucky customers will win a $100,000 free bet. That's right. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you $200 in free bets just for signing up today. No deposit required. Plus, you'll be entered to win a $100,000 free bet when you sign up. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and sign up with code WING1410 to get $200 in free bets to use once mobile sports betting hits Ohio. Plus, 5 customers will win a $100,000 free bet only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code WING1410. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966. 21 and up. Physically present in Ohio. Eligibility restrictions apply. See terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regularity licensing requirements. 1 per customer. $200 issued as $825 free bets. No purchase necessary for sweepstakes. Void where prohibited. Ends first day. DraftKings is allowed to operate in Ohio. See terms at dkng.co/OH. Make sure your home's heating and cooling system is in shape for the season with the experts and community trusted service that you can rely on. From William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning, we're offering exclusive savings opportunities on the new Lennox system. Call William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning at 937-222-8638 today or visit us online at DaytonHeatingandCooling.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Ohio license number 14911.
Finding the right Medicare plan? Oof, no easy feat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens Find Rx coverage. Lets you compare plans online, over the phone, or in person. Made Medicare shopping so easy. Plus, I found plans with low-cost copays. I can get down with that. When you need to talk Medicare, Walgreens is here. Start shopping today at walgreens.com/Medicare.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to get conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
Hey, Buckeye fans. As the official wing sponsor of your Ohio State Buckeyes, Roosters is giving away 12 trips for 2 to this year's Buckeye Bowl game. Each trip comes complete with airfare, hotel, gift bag, and 2 tickets to the big game. One bowl prize winner will be chosen each week, along with other cool Roosters weekly prizes. So register every week at roosterswings.com. Roosters, a fun casual joint and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Official contest rules at roosterswings.com.
Chronic joint pain has a snowball effect. It's not just the pain.
What that did is just make me depressed that I couldn't get back into the gym, and I was inactive, gaining weight. I had to find another alternative.
And for Chad, that alternative was QC Kinetics and the non-surgical natural biologic treatments that can give lasting relief to aching hips, shoulders, knees, and backs.
Once they explained it, it made sense. Putting what we have inside our body back into us in a certain strategic way to heal up in a natural process was fantastic.
QC Kinetics treatments take place right in the office. No downtime, no surgery. And as for the outcome,
I'm just back to bouncing around, having fun, doing my work, living pain-free.
Don't let chronic joint pain rob you of your quality of life. Discover advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. Call now to learn more. It's a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
You need employees.
Tell me about it.
Actually, tell us about it.
Why?
Because when you tell us about your job openings, we can tell over 300,000 other people.
You can?
Yeah, whether you're looking for a job or a better job, Alpha Media Recruitment can help fill any position with qualified job seekers with a custom plan that combines our broadcast and digital platforms.
You can do that?
It's what we do. Alpha Media Dayton, on air, on site, on demand. Call 937-519-0111. That's 937-519-0111. Or email DaytonJobs@alphamediausa.com. That's DaytonJobs@alphamediausa.com.
Hi, this is Eddie Sorrell, Body Shop Manager at Germain Honda Beaver Creek. Our technicians have over 125 years of total experience. That means we can repair your vehicle correctly and efficiently. So when you need a dependable body shop, we're here. And we repair all makes and models with new state-of-the-art equipment to get you back on the road quickly. Plus, we offer loaner cars during service and free estimates. Stop by and see us. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, State Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek.
Dell's early Black Friday starts now with savings on popular PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Call 877-ASK-DELL.
On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
And we are back. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kevin Nash, hanging out with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. All right. I told everyone this yesterday while you were out, Kev, but I need help. So the bosses are on me. Oh, Kinner, you got to get your YouTube numbers up. I'm like, my gosh, would you guys just leave me alone? But, YouTube. If you have a YouTube account, which I think if everyone, I mean, everything's through Google and everything, so please just go to YouTube and subscribe to ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. I'm begging you. For those that like me, you would really be helping me out. For those that don't, you weren't going to do anything for me anyway, so it's fine. But if there's anyone out there that wants to help me out, do me. Yesterday was my birthday. So what I want for my birthday is for everyone to head to YouTube and to subscribe to our ESPN Dayton YouTube channel. Head to YouTube, search ESPN Dayton, bam. Every day we go live from 3 to 6 on 1410 Wing AM, but we also go live on the video stream through YouTube and on the Facebook page. So for my birthday, for those of you who like me, all two of you, hi, Mom, go to Facebook, search the Justin Kinner Show page, and follow that page and subscribe to the ESPN Dayton YouTube channel. Please, I'm begging. It's all I ask. It's all I ask. You'd be helping me out. You'd be helping me out. Let me do it this way. You'll be helping Kev out.
There you go.
You'll be helping Kev out. Help Kev. I screwed up from the beginning. I should have had you do the whole tell him.
Hey, make sure you subscribe to the page on YouTube. Follow the show. You can watch the show there. You can leave comments. You can have a good time with us. And check this out. If you don't like Justin, guess what you can do in the comments? You're right. You can put pill emojis.
Yeah, you can tell me. I mean, I don't care what you say. Ron, I see Ron's calling in. Ron, you are banned from the show, my dude. Ron, you are banned from the show till January. Is that what you said? Till January.
Ron is banned until January. He cusses on the air, and we can't have it.
He didn't just cuss. He said some words, dude.
Yeah. He gets a for that.
Yeah. Ron, I don't even think Ron understands what he did. And by the way, I have no clue. And look, he's calling back. Ron, go away. You're banned from the show.
No, Ron, we don't want to hear it, man. No excuses, man. Call back next year.
Yeah, Ronnie has this problem with swearing on the air.
Can't have it. Can't have it at all.
And, never mind. It doesn't matter. Just don't swear on the air.
I mean, it's
this
not
isn't
that
the first
hard.
time, and it's not the first time too. He's done this before.
I mean, you and Shaw get into some heated debates, and neither of you cuss on the air.
Is that true, Shaw? Have you ever cussed on the air?
Came close, but no.
See, he's back on hold again. Yeah, he's come very close on a few occasions. But Ron, yeah, you unbelievable, yeah. And just don't cut. You're banned. All right, holy moly. By the way, for my birthday, my wife got me an Apple Watch.
Look at you.
I feel all fancy all the time, but I'm getting a kick out of it because when my heart rate starts going up, like when I get real irritated, like during yesterday's show, I got real pissed off during that little Bengals or the Steelers segment. Shocker, I know. All of a sudden, the watch started kind of vibrating. I looked down and it said that my heart rate was getting a little too high.
Pill emojis in the chat,
So
please.
I'm dying laughing because I'm like, is this going to be my new monitor of like who stresses me out the most on this show? Like Shaw, I have a feeling, and Ron doesn't understand. I don't. He keeps calling in, so I'm going to be keeping track of the folks who. Oh, it just beeped. What's it saying?
It just.
My move goal was achieved. You reached your. I've been sitting here. Is this thing accurate?
It is.
My move goal. I mean, I guess I do throw my hands around a lot. This thing says I burn like 300 calories. Like the last 2 days, I burned 300 calories a day. I used to wake up to go work out to burn about 300 to 500 calories a day. I didn't know I didn't need to do that. I just, who knew that sitting down doing my job all day
you burn calories just in regular movement. Now the exercise increases the calories you burn.
Nah, I'm married. She said yes at my fattest, so we're good. We're good for the time being. But yeah, nonetheless, so I'm going to be keeping track every time this thing, starts beeping at me that my heart rate's gone up because someone's stressing me out. I'm going to be keeping track to see who gets this thing, kind of beeping the most. I'm just throwing that out.
I'm about to friend you on the Apple Watch, man. We can track each other's activities. Keep each other accountable for our workout habits.
All right. So real quick, while I have you here, you didn't think I was going to go a whole show and not have some kind of anti-Bengals segment, did you?
Oh boy.
It's not in my nature to be mature. So I found this very funny. The 2020 quarterback draft class was viewed as what, Kev? Like, would you say it wasn't a great class? It wasn't viewed as a great class, but I would say, because again, you're only as good as the sum of your parts. Like Joe Burrow was like a big time get for the Bengals. There's no doubt about it. I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not here to like try to convince you otherwise as far as that goes, but it is interesting because as I sit here right now, I'm looking at this in the 2020 draft class. You had Jalen Hurts in the second round, Tua Tagovailoa, and
Herbert.
Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow. So those four quarterbacks, okay, Tua, Jalen, Herbert, and Burrow. Of those four quarterbacks, who is the best quarterback of those four based on what they've done in the NFL thus far?
I would say Herbert.
And I would say Herbert as well, but I think Joe Burrow, I think more people than not would say Joe Burrow just because of the fact that he has taken his team to the Super Bowl. But I get thrown in my face all the time about the record of your quarterback, which I think is a little overrated at times. Like I think the win-loss record for pitchers in baseball is a little ridiculous, but at the same time, the perception is that Joe Burrow has come and completely turned this franchise around, and he has, don't get me wrong, but I was shocked when I came across this tweet earlier today from CBS Sports. The 2020 quarterback draft class records for each quarterback. Tua Tagovailoa is 18-9.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a guy that I feel like up until this last month and a half has just been viewed as a very average to below average quarterback. But the Dolphins are not a very good franchise. Like that's a bad franchise. Like the thing is, we're outside of the Eagles that we're talking about here. The Dolphins not a good franchise. The Bengals not a good franchise. The Chargers are a very weird franchise. They win a lot of games, but they don't, do anything with it, right? But Tua is 18-9. Jalen Hurts is 16-10. Justin Herbert is 19-20, which makes a lot of sense. Just the Chargers, you know what I mean? Like it's very weird. And then there's Joe Burrow. He's the only quarterback, or him and Hurts, 16 wins each.
Mm-hmm.
But Joe Burrow has 36 starts compared to only 26 starts for Jalen Hurts.
Right.
So it's just very fascinating to me that Joe Burrow, who's turned the franchise around, is a below 500 quarterback with the Cincinnati Bengals. If you take, and you can't do this, and I get that, but you take that playoff run out, which you can't do. I get that. But at the same time, it's a very average quarter. I mean, that playoff run helped add to those win losses. Otherwise, it would be significantly less than that. But they lose a lot with Joe Burrow. It's not as if that they are out there just dominating with Joe Burrow. I'm being a hater. If you want to call me every name in the book that you want, that's fine. But I thought that caught me by surprise because I thought that the Bengals have just been dominant with him. And I think we are letting that 1 month last year of the playoff run, so that's not a small thing. Getting to a Super Bowl is a big deal. But like, I just found that interesting is all, Kev, that he's the worst quarterback of them all as far as the record's concerned. But I think they have the most stacked roster of all the teams we just talked about. I think that's a little interesting. I don't think it's something.
You think their roster is better than the Chargers?
Oh, yeah. As far as the offense is concerned, I mean, the offensive line for the Chargers is better, but I'll take Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and Joe Mixon. Maybe not this year's Joe Mixon he has good weapons too. I think the Bengals roster, when you add the defense and offense combined,
I think that the Chargers roster overall is far better than the Bengals.
Far better?
Yeah, the offensive line is way better. When Mike Williams,
offensive line for sure. Yep.
I don't think the gap between Mike Williams and Keenan Allen is that big between Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. I don't think it's as wide as people think it is. And their defense, obviously, you can't play this game because, dudes get hurt. And Bosa seems like he's always hurt. And seems like Derwin James is always hurt. Healthy, I think they're way better.
So
defensively.
No, yeah.
I think they're way better.
Hendrickson is why I put more respect on the Bengals name than I normally would from a defensive standpoint. I like the leadership of Hilton. And, Owuzie, who I was not a fan of in Dallas. I think the Bengals have gotten the best of him. It stinks that he's out for the rest of the year for the Bengals. For me as a Browns fan, I'm like, oh, darn. But in all seriousness, that's a big deal losing that. But losing him is a big deal because he was good in Dallas, but he's really, really good in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And Eli Apple I can't think of another talent like him that as good as he can be, he could be equally as bad. Like he's the weirdest dude in the NFL. And I think I'm more forgiving of him because he's a Buckeye. Maybe that's what I don't know.
Once a Buckeye was a
But
Buckeye.
I do like the Bengals defense and I like the Bengals overall, but I still think that's an underachievement. I mean, it's 16-17-1 since Joe Burrow arrived in Cincinnati. And he's always had T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, and he had the better of Joe Mixon the first 2 years of his career than this year. But that's interesting. It's not like
let me ask you this: if we both think that Herbert is the better quarterback of them, or the best quarterback out of this draft, and he is yet to make the playoffs, doesn't that say that he's more disappointing?
I think both are disappointing. I think both are disappointing as far as not like this year. Right now, the 4 losses, the 4 losses they have, 3 of those losses should have been wins. So then we're talking about what? We're talking about a 19-16 record as opposed to the 16-17-1 and all that type of stuff. Look, bottom line is I don't think so. These numbers I don't think are something, but I don't think it's nothing. Does that make sense? Like, I don't think this is a big deal because the Bengals are clearly, he's turned them around. The expectations, everything, the vibe, everything. But then the whole purpose of this is to win football games. And you look at it, 16-17-1. That's nothing to like do cartwheels over. Like, I'm not trying to, maybe it's stirring the pot, whatever you guys want to view this as, that's fine. But I don't think that I thought it was more, to be honest. If you would have asked me, I would have been like, oh no, the Bengals are night and day different with Joe Burrow than before. They are perception wise, but record, you are who your record is. Like, right?
Yeah.
So
for me, the guy that I'm the highest on and the guy that I wanted the Pittsburgh Steelers to draft is Jalen Hurts. I love Jalen Hurts when he was at Alabama, fell in love with him big time when he was at Oklahoma because he showed the ability to actually pass the ball and still run the ball. I think that he is in the best position out of all those dudes because he was allowed to come into a better situation. Like Joe Burrow was, hey, you're starting from day one. Herbert, they let Tyrod Taylor go out there until they punctured his lung halfway through the season. Tua's in and out of the lineup. They had Fitzpatrick starting games. So I think that has something to do with it as well. Like we use this term in college football, we're all not starting from the same spot. They all didn't start from the same place. He was like, hey, you're the savior. And guess what? We're letting Andy Dalton walk. And we don't even have another quarterback on the roster because you're the one. So I think that has a lot to do with his quote unquote win-loss record. But the guy that has the most to gain out of all them is Jalen Hurts, because obviously his team is undefeated right now. They put some dogs around him on the outside with the trading for AJ Brown. They still got Devontae Smith out of Alabama. Like, he has a chance to really make waves in this league with the Philadelphia Eagles. If they're able to make it to the Super Bowl this year, you better watch out, because guess what? You make it to the Super Bowl and it would be his third year, they're going to have to break the bank for him, just like everybody else, all the other quarterbacks out there.
Yeah. So, and Yogi says, tried to get you on the phone. That was Yogi. Call back. We thought that was Ron trying to infiltrate. So I tell you what, we're gonna go, because some people, and I figured would be mad at this, and that's fine. I get that. Yogi, give us a call back. We'll get you on. Bottom line is, y'all could be mad at this all you want. I really don't give a damn at all, because it's not like I'm making these numbers up, and these numbers, it's not like I'm stretching this like 16, 17-1. I am actually agreeing with Bengals fans that, like, the perception is that, man, this things could get no better here. Like, that's how great things have been since Joe Burrow has arrived. They got the Super Bowl run has masked a lot of stuff. And by the way, that's not a small thing. That's what you draft for. That's what you assign free agents for. That's what, you know what I mean? Like, that's what it's all about. But at the same time, it's very strange to me that Tua Tagovailoa has been more successful in Miami overall, right? Wrong? I don't know. I don't know what to do with these numbers. I'm not really trying to spin this either one way or another, but oh, I guess you kind of need your mic on, huh?
So you'd rather have Tua over than Joe?
I don't. Joe Burrow. I would take Joe Burrow over Tua, but a year and if you would have asked me a year ago, it would have been Joe Burrow, no questions asked. Tua is better than we thought. Is that fair to say?
No, I think he's the same dude he's always been. I just think the guys around him are a ton. He's got Tariq Hill and he's got Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, but Joe Burrow has Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, and you take Jalen Waddle away and those guys away. Tua looks kind of average. Joe Burrow checked down Burrow last Monday without Jamar Chase.
That's one game, and Joe Burrow played good football as a rookie. They didn't win a lot of games, but he played good football.
16, 17-1.
So you can't play good football if you don't win?
Then what are you? I mean,
I'm just saying, like, he played good football.
Okay. I don't know what that
I'm
means.
just saying, like, he played good football. Like, it wasn't strictly, obviously, we all played to win the game, and wins and losses obviously matter. But I don't think it's as simple as, all right, man, this person's win-loss record is better than this person's win-loss record, because it ultimately is a team game. And I think Tua is a pretty good quarterback. I'm not willing to jump on the Tua train. I just think same thing that I thought at Alabama. Like, he's a point guard. He distributes the ball and gets it to where it needs to be. And when you have Jalen Waddle and Hill, and credit to them, they went and got him, and they dropped the bags on the draft picks to get him, to see if they can win a championship. So I respect what the Dolphins are trying to do. And if they are ultimately able to get it done, it was all money well spent. I just personally think that out of those quarterbacks, I think there is Herbert, Joe Burrow, drop off, Jalen Hurts, drop off, Tua.
Well, the one thing that all of those quarterbacks have is weapons. So I don't think it's fair to say that Tua is only good because of those weapons, because look at Aaron Rodgers. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is a bad quarterback. He's not having a great year, and I don't even think he's having a bad year. He just has no weapons around him. Joe Burrow looked bad on Monday night. I don't think he's a bad quarterback, but you are only as good as the weapons around you, and that's why that's the only problem with that. I guess I think that the weapons get more. I think so. For instance, I think Joe Burrow can get more out of lesser talent around him than Tua could get out of lesser talent around him. And I think that but I do think Jamar Chase carries Burrow. I mean, he is a crutch. How many of those big plays has Jamar Chase made where he catches it 10, 15 yards out and then runs for the other 75?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like that, like he is a yak dude. If I've ever seen, I mean, he's yakety yak. Don't talk back. That is Jamar Chase. So, and yeah, look, people getting all up in their feelings. This dude named Adam Coyle, he goes, Joe hasn't turned anything around. They played in the Super Bowl. I know that. And I also said that they're 16, 17-1. Going to the Super Bowl doesn't take away that Joe Burrow is a under 500 quarterback in Cincinnati. Am I wrong? So then he goes on to say ESPN 1530, which, by the way, shout out to Mo Egger. Love Mo Egger. Does a fantastic job in Cincinnati and ESPN 1530. They're not competition to us because that's Cincinnati. This is Dayton. So shout out to Mo Egger and company. Mo and I are super close. I love Mo. So bringing up 1530, you think that's a dig at me, and it's not, because he goes, it's analysis and opinions. No, I just gave you analysis. You just didn't like the analysis, so you're trying to discredit it. It's
They're
okay.
killing you on the board.
They can kill me on the boards all they want. You want the analysis that paints a picture of, man, 16, 17-1 is great. I don't think it is. If Deshaun Watson, Kev, when he gets to Cincinnati, when he's free to play coming up here in about a month, if the first 36 games or 34 games of his run in Cleveland, if Deshaun Watson is 16, 17-1, that's a problem. That's a problem. 16, 17-1. Like quarterback. Unbelievable. Oh, and then the other one, where did this one go? This is a sad one right here. Doug Toby said 8 wins a year is a lot better than 2 wins a year. Holy crap, dude. When you bend over to tie your shoes, see if your standards are down there next to your feet. You pick it up a little bit. My God. We'll be right back. 16, 17-1.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Do you enjoy sports betting and fantasy sports? If so, it's important to know that gambling's not a way to pay bills or earn income. Learn how to set limits and recognize the warning signs for problem gambling by visiting beforeyoubet.org. You can also assess your risk by taking the responsible gambling quiz. Beforeyoubet.org provides free resources to help keep gambling safe and fun for Ohioans. Be a fan with a plan this season and go to beforeyoubet.org to learn more.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling, and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today.
At Harley-Davidson of Xenia, the atmosphere is positively electric as we look to the future. Our name may have changed, but Harley-Davidson of Xenia has been locally owned since 1984. Under our new management, the staff and store are buzzing to get you set up for the open road. Whether you're shopping for merchandise, a new bike, or just need some maintenance on your current ride, Harley-Davidson of Xenia is here for you. Visit us online to learn more and to place a reservation on your new bike. hdofxenia.com.
Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken is excited to announce their new delicious spicy bourbon chicken sandwich is here. It's the best of both worlds. Their spicy bourbon dippers that you love brought into a sandwich you'll crave. It's made with their famous spicy chicken sandwich, smothered in their special bourbon barbecue sauce, dripping with flavor on a brioche bun. Enjoy it in a combo with your favorite side and a drink, priced just right at only $6.99 and only available at Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken Miami Valley locations. Lee's, famous for spicy bourbon chicken.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. Excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Hi, I'm Sales Manager Jason High at Germain Honda Beaver Creek, proud recipient of the prestigious President's Award. We are your local Honda dealer, and we invite you to see our newly renovated state-of-the-art facility. You'll be amazed at our selection, and remember, all new Hondas come with a lifetime powertrain warranty. Visit us at Route 35, just east of 675, conveniently located near Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Germain Honda, Beaver Creek, the right car the right price, the right way. I'll see you soon.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Ohio State, Northwestern, a noon kick coming up this Saturday. If you want to talk about a resume builder, my goodness. Once Ohio State beats Northwestern, they're going to be the number one team in the game. Maybe they will.
You never know.
They will. I thought about this yesterday. I don't think Ohio State will never be number one this year. I don't believe. Not because I don't think they're number one, but because like what will happen, like Tennessee, because someone said, well, once Tennessee loses to Georgia this week, then Ohio State will be number one. I'm like, I don't think so.
No,
I think
that obviously means Georgia will be number one.
The battle for number one. I know Ohio State's two, but I think, I mean, my goodness, I think that Georgia beats Tennessee, then Georgia just jumps to number one. I would be curious to see, like, let's just assume it's a close loss. How far back would Tennessee fall? Like this, I love this stuff. Like I find it fascinating. The element of surprise, the chaos, we may not like how they go about doing it, but I think it's fascinating. I'm pretty jacked for this weekend. The games this weekend are going to be fantastic. I can't wait for the first quarter of Ohio State Northwestern, and then the competitive games will be on later in the afternoon. But that LSU Alabama game, I guess Alabama's like only 13-point favorite or something crazy like that. But I don't know if that says more about LSU or more about Alabama. I'm not really sure what that's a reflection of, to be quite honest. But
third loss coming your way, LSU.
And that's fine. But okay, well, let me ask you this, because if people are pissed off about LSU being a top 10 team right now, what if they upset Alabama? What does that do for them?
That means they control.
They're not in the top four, but
no, that means they're in the driver's seat in the SEC West. So if went out, they go to the SEC championship game.
Playoff at all? Who would they? Because they would run into if they get a win over Alabama and then get to the SEC title game with those two losses, they knock off a Tennessee or a Georgia, or a Georgia, I should say. Right? Like, I don't think so. I don't think they should.
I don't think so.
What about you, Shaw? You're a big LSU fan.
Oh yeah, huge.
Go ahead and tell us LSU. Alabama. They're such a weak program. They need LSU to prop them up. Let's hear it.
It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with this is based on every season, not based on what every team's done before.
No, it's based on this season.
Yeah, you're right. It is based on this season.
You just said it was.
So we need to put LSU at number 10 so we can boost up Alabama's resume that's weaker than Charmin tissue.
Even if LSU wasn't ranked, Alabama winning, like, that doesn't matter. Like, LSU is or not, like they don't matter. Like, I just don't think they matter. Alabama wins, they're fine.
It does, because it gives them the top 25 wins, and it gives them the talking point to justify why Alabama's sitting there. Yes, that's the whole reason why they did it. It's the whole reason why Texas is at 24.
They told you that? They told you that?
You can do synopsis all you want and look into it.
But that's not it. Like, Alabama doesn't need that. Like, I see why you're trying to connect those dots, but it's silly to think that Tennessee or that Alabama needs LSU to be top 10.
Does the committee talk about top 25 wins almost every time?
For the teams that need that crutch, but Alabama doesn't.
But you're proving my point why this is an invitational.
We're not debating that. We're not debating that. You can call it whatever the heck you want, but these are the protocols to get in. It don't matter.
Yeah, your resume has to be legit enough to get in. And
Alabama's is with or without the number in front of LSU on.
No, it's not.
Clearly it is. Clearly it is. Clearly it is.
So, okay, so then if that's not the case, then what's the other justification that they're sitting there? Because of the SEC bias. That's why.
Doesn't it get exhausting waving that flag every single day? The SEC bias. You mean the best conference in football that's won 3 straight national championships with 3 different teams and is probably going to win a 4th straight national championship with a 4th different team?
Because of
SEC
the bias and the polls that put them there.
What are you talking about? Like, what does that have to do with anything? Tennessee is the number 1 team in the country or not? Are they number 1 or not? Are they number 1 or not?
The preseason polls and everything have everything to do with it. That's why it looks better than what it does from the beginning of the season. That's why it all looks this way.
So take the polls out of it. Who's the number 1 team in the country? Who's the best team in the country?
What game is on what television? What network is hosting LSU Bama this week?
What network is it?
What network is the college football playoff rankings on? What network is the main network for what conference again? Oh, that's right. And and we would rather have 7 weeks of this.
So why, if that's the case, why would they put Ohio State at 2? Why not just put Tennessee 1, Georgia 2, Alabama 3? Why put Ohio State at 2? They don't benefit from Ohio State at 2.
Yeah, they do.
How? They're not an SEC team, Sean. This is about the bias. The SEC bias.
Ohio State's fan base. Ohio State's fan base.
All right, let me jump in here. So I do believe there are biases that go into this. No doubt about it. Everybody has their own bias. I mean, you talk to certain people that watch Big Ten football, they would tell you that certain teams are better than what they really are. So we all, including myself, have built-in bias. I think it's very difficult to deal with this LSU team because obviously they got blew out by Tennessee. But in the same breath, they beat Ole Miss. So what do? Who's better between Ole Miss and LSU? Well, they had to put LSU a spot ahead of Ole Miss because they beat them in the head-to-head. But dang, that glaring question is they got blew out by Tennessee. So what do you do with them? So like we talked about like an hour ago, I just think this stuff is very difficult to deal with. Super difficult. And I think the other bias comes in where we look at a team like Clemson and say, oh, they haven't played anybody. But then you go look and, oh, man, they got 3 top 25 wins. But those top 25 wins aren't good enough because they play in the ACC. Or then you look at the wins that TCU has, like, oh, but they play in the Big 12. Let's be real, man. The bias is between the Big 10 and the SEC because us in Big 10 country are always going to look at the SEC and say, oh, they're propping them up. And then we're going to look at the other conferences like the Pac-12 and the Big 12 and the ACC and like, oh, you guys stink. But the reality is there's only 2 good teams in the Big 10. That's the reality. It's Ohio State and your team.
Correct.
1.5.
But the bigger issue I have with LSU too is the fact that who they lose to the first game of the year, basically in a home game.
My Knowles.
Yeah. So okay, let's justify the good win and with Ole Miss, and let's talk about how you got doors blown off by Tennessee, but let's not talk about how you lost to Florida State.
Oh, I talk about it all the time.
Whole thing.
I'll call back tomorrow. So the thing is, Kev, LSU at 10. If Alabama blows them out 45-20, if they blow out number 10 LSU 45-20 or unranked LSU 45-20, I just they're already ahead of TCU. It does nothing. It's not going to do anything. Because when they beat LSU and move up a spot in the rankings, it's not because they beat LSU. It's because Tennessee's going to lose or Georgia's going to lose, and that just means it's the next one up. No matter who Alabama played this weekend, that was going to matter. I don't know. We're out of time, unfortunately.
You ain't going to answer this call?
Ron.
Yeah.
Hey, you're banned from the show. You're not allowed to call in, Ron.
No cussing on the air.
You cussed on the air.
See you in January.
My goodness, and you are out of you're out of jail in January. You can't call back until you
call back again.
You call back again. My gosh! All right, folks, have a great night. Until tomorrow, it's the Justin Kidder Show with Kev Nash. Oh, by the way, Buckeyes and Northwestern Saturday at noon kick in Huber Heights. We will be at the Submarine House. Keith Byers and I. Saturday, starting at 10:30 a.m. to noon. So come on out. Not you, Ron. You're banned. You're banned.
Banned from events, banned from the air, just banned. Is he going to make the top 10 this week?
No, he's banned. Have a good night, everybody.
If you have certain chronic conditions, such as heart disease,
asthma,
diabetes, and you're 19 years of age or older, 52,
36,
42, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
I'm going to ask my doctor
about getting vaccinated
with Prevnar 20.
Your money has to go farther. So remember, everyday values are at only one place, Frickers. Monday, boneless frickin' chicken wings. Tuesday, traditional frickin' chicken wings. Wednesday is all about that steak. Thursday, frickin' chicken chunks. Frickers, where kids 10 and under eat free every day. Remember draft beer specials, everyday values, and kids eat free every day. The home for money-saving value is the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Presented by Kentucky Fried Chicken $6 two-piece drum and thigh combo. Get tasty chicken, mashed potatoes, a biscuit, and a medium drink for just $6. Order now on the KFC app or at KFC.com. That's finger looking good.
Dave Yost for Ohio. Dave Yost for America. Stand strong in the land of the free. Dave Yost for you and me.
Yo Yost.
As our Attorney General,
Dave Yost is keeping us safe.
he's protecting religious freedom.
And he's fighting to lower healthcare costs.
Yo, Dave Yost. Paid for by Dave Yost for Ohio.
For you and me.
Hurry and grab the #1 brand doctors trust for cough and cold. Buy Mucinex DM to get cough and chest congestion relief for 3 times longer than 4-hour cough and congestion medicines. 12-hour relief is on its way. Use as directed.
WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
The only unbeaten team left in the NFL. I mean, Jalen Hurts, I did not see it, Mel. I did not see it. I did not see him being this quality of a quarterback at the NFL that could carry an offense. He's an MVP candidate. Yes, record-wise, they are the best team in the league.
There is absolutely no reason to believe the Philadelphia Eagles can't go undefeated in the regular season. Canty and Carlin, ESPN Radio, and on the ESPN app. We are presented by Progressive Insurance, friends. 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776, your Dr. Pepper call-in line. Canty, right now, the Eagles sit at 7-0. They are in Houston tonight for some Thursday night football with the Houston Texans. Mm-hmm. I have examined the schedule very closely, and we have done it over the last few weeks after you first brought up the possibility around 4-0, if I'm not mistaken, that the Eagles could possibly, just possibly, go undefeated this season. There is no reason whatsoever, with what they have left on the schedule, to think that it is not possible. I would say it is very, very possible.
Yeah, I brought it up after they had that win out in Arizona, Carlin, where they had that clock-killing drive. I want to say the drive was like 12 plays, 70 yards,
right,
and they chewed up almost 8 minutes of clock. And that was really when I had the utmost respect for this team in terms of having the overall awareness on how to win close games. And, Carlin, they've only gotten better. They added Robert Quinn, the pass rusher, to go along with the defensive front. That is right up there with the best in football. They're number one in takeaways, Carlin, on defense. Their defense is top 10 in red zone efficiency. Their offense is top 10 in red zone efficiency. And they're top 5 on third down conversion rate on offense. This is one of the best running teams in the National Football League. Matter of fact, no team has more rushing touchdowns than the Philadelphia Eagles. They've got a top 5 offense, a top 5 defense, and Carlin, they have an ascending quarterback who's playing as good as any quarterback in the National Football League. There's no reason to think why the Eagles can't go undefeated. And looking at ESPN's FPI index, Carlin, there's only one game that the Eagles don't have a 70% chance of winning or better. And that would be on the road against the Dallas Cowboys on Christmas Eve.
Yep.
That's it. That's the only game that they don't have a 70% chance of winning or better, according to ESPN's FPI. So why shouldn't we believe that the Philadelphia Eagles have a legitimate shot at making a run and going undefeated?
I don't think there's any reason to believe it. And I think the only thing that would hold them back at this point would be injuries. You know, if they suffer injuries outside of even quarterback at crucial spots, then I think it holds them back, especially if it's on the offensive line. That's where I think they could get into some trouble. But I don't have any reason to think when I look at what this stretch is, just to give people a quick feel, okay? You mentioned the Dallas game on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Before then, here's what we've got. Tonight at Houston, Washington at home, at Indianapolis, Green Bay at home, Tennessee at home, little tricky there, at the Giants, at the Bears, at Dallas, 3 in a row on the road right there, and then home for New Orleans and the Giants. Chris, these are all games that this team is exceptionally capable of winning. Mm-hmm. And I'm so impressed with how quickly we have been able, and knock on wood when I say this, how quickly we have been able to remove the doubt or the question about whether or not Jalen Hurts was the guy. And we've been able to do it when he's not going out there and throwing up 350 yards a game and rushing for 70 yards a game. Mm-hmm. We have done it when he has simply done everything right with their offense. He hasn't made big mistakes. He's been more than a game manager, don't get me wrong. But this guy with 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, a rating of 105, and the ability to run the football like he has for over 300 yards so far, there's no question about that position anymore. There's none. There's none.
And here's the thing, Carlin. People will say, well, he's a little light on the touchdowns to have played 7 games. We got to remember, Jalen Hurts is a dual-threat quarterback. He's got 10 passing touchdowns. He's got 6 rushing touchdowns.
Rushing, yeah.
So he's accounted for 16 touchdowns to only 2 turnovers. That's pretty damn good. And we've also seen this team find the way to win in different ways, Carlin. Like we saw it in Jacksonville Jaguars game. They got behind by double digits early. They were able to fight and claw and get their way back into that game, and the offense and the defense playing complementary football. The defense got a lot of takeaways, and the offense cashed in on them. This is a team that doesn't flinch when they see adversity. This is a team that's well-balanced on both sides of the ball. They can stop the run. They can rush the passer on defense. They can run the ball, and they can be explosive on offense in the passing game. Show me the deficiency on this Philadelphia Eagles team. Carlin, when we look at all of the teams that we fancy as contenders, whether it be the Dallas Cowboys or the Buffalo Bills or the Kansas City Chiefs, all of those teams have warts. Show me the warts on the Philadelphia Eagles, because I don't see them. The only thing that you can hold against them, the only knock, is the quarterback, and he's playing out of his mind. So again, when we start talking about the Eagles making a run at being undefeated, yeah, we recognize that the odds are against them because we got a 17-game regular season. To be perfect the entire regular season got that much harder when they added the extra game. But when you look at the competition and how the schedule lays out, it's not outside of the realm of possibility because this team is just that good.
I can't get over how good they've become. I thought they'd be very good. I had them in the Super Bowl before the season started against the Bills. But this has been one of those situations that we see in football every once in a while, that we see in sports every once in a while, where a team accelerates to a position that we did not expect them to get to so quickly. Now,
Carlin, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
First of all, I'm just looking at the preseason odds for the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. they were plus 2,400
So
to win the
24 to
Super
1.
Bowl.
Yeah.
Wow. But anyway,
you know what they were when they won the Super Bowl last time? 30 to 1.
Wow.
Right around the same part. I know because I put a couple of bucks on.
Yeah, there you go. Let me ask you this question, Carlin. If they do run the table, they go undefeated. Does Jalen Hurts then become the highest paid player in the National Football League? Or does he have to do some damage in the postseason?
If they go undefeated, but they don't win the Super Bowl?
Yes.
It's still hard to argue that he wouldn't unless he had a horrible game.
Yeah.
Unless he was the reason that they lost in the playoffs. But even still, I don't know how it's not like it's going to change their minds about him for the long term.
No, it's not. That's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Like it may cost him a few mil. It may knock him out of being the highest paid of all, but no, I don't think it's going to highly damage him. I would expect that if the Eagles win the Super Bowl or go undefeated in the regular season and get to the Super Bowl, that he's absolutely going to be the highest paid player in the game.
Wow.
And he should wait until those other guys sign. He needs to be the last one to sign.
The last one,
Chris.
just like, look,
Chris,
we're going to get it done, but I'm going to wait until Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert get paid before I address my deal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Canty and Carlin, ESPN Radio, and on the ESPN app. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. What do? We give props. We give props. So we've got some props for tonight. We also want to give props when people deserve it. It's a little dual meaning right there. Canty and Carlin, ESPN Radio. The Miami Dolphins, after trading for Bradley Chubb earlier in the week, make a big move in signing him to a $119 million contract with $63 million guaranteed. Making moves brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
At Harley-Davidson of Xenia, the atmosphere is positively electric as we look to the future. Our name may have changed, but Harley-Davidson of Xenia has been locally owned since 1984. Under our new management, the staff and store are buzzing to get you set up for the open road. Whether you're shopping for merchandise, a new bike, or just need some maintenance on your current ride, Harley-Davidson of Xenia is here for you. Visit us online to learn more and to place a reservation on your new bike. hdofxenia.com.
Are you suffering from chronic joint pain like Heather?
So I have terrible arthritis and have had it for quite a while. And I've gone to all kinds of doctors trying to figure out what to do. And everybody just said surgery. And surgery was months of rehab. And I didn't want to do that.
But then Heather discovered QC Kinetics, local medical professionals who specialize in natural biologic treatments, non-invasive solutions designed to repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints. And she absolutely loves the results.
I like to tell anybody who's suffering that there are options that are not steroids, that are not surgery. You owe it to yourself to find out about QC Kinetics and find out what they can do for you.
No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Discover QC Kinetics and learn more about natural biologic treatments with lasting results.
Call QC Kinetics 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. Don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics 937-936-0325.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous.
But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code IMPACT at checkout. That's harrys.com, code IMPACT. Enjoy!
Houday Nation, Betfred has come all the way from England to the great state of Ohio with over 50 years of sports betting experience. No emperors, no movie stars, just a sportsbook you can trust. The Betfred Sportsbook app will be available on January 1st, 2023. Until then, download the Bengals app or go to betfredsports.com and have a chance to win Bengals tickets and exclusive merchandise. Official sports betting partner of the Cincinnati Bengals. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Making an Impact, sponsored by Grainger. Desmond Blair is a world-class painter that was born without hands. His incredible artistry is an inspiration to many disabled Americans.
People would tell me what I wouldn't be able to do, but it's like if I had a sheet of paper and like a pilot pen, you're not going to take that away from me.
For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, backed by 24/7 support and access to product experts. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be signs that your digestive system isn't working at its best? But taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil supports your daily digestive health using a special plant-based fiber called psyllium. Psyllium works by forming a gel in your digestive system to trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Metamucil's gelling action also helps to promote heart health and slows down sugar absorption to promote healthy blood sugar levels. Start feeling lighter and more energetic by taking Metamucil every day.
It's time to say goodnight to that check engine light with the free AutoZone Fix Finder service. It'll help troubleshoot the likely cause of your light for free. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
This is a phrase that I cannot stand, but I'll say it anyway.
What's up?
This is my jam.
Oh, come on, Carlin. Why'd you have to ruin it, man?
I really don't care. That's my variety.
Did you have the album? Did you have the album?
Oh yeah. Back in the day.
Were you one of the people that helped it go platinum? What was it, 8-9 times over? Whatever it was.
This was probably junior year of high school, senior year of high school, something like that.
There you go.
Canty and Carlin, ESPN Radio, and on the ESPN app, we are presented by Progressive Insurance. 888-SAY-ESPN, the Dr. Pepper call-in line, 888-729-3776. In 15 minutes, we go live to Houston. Of course, our coverage of the World Series tonight on ESPN Radio begins at 7 p.m. It is Game 5 between the Phillies and the Astros. Right now, yes, friends, it is time to give some props.
We're not afraid to tell you when we got something right.
Wow, you were right.
Or wrong.
That was terrible.
It's time to give props.
Last night, we were really wrong. Really wrong. We had a
really wrong
bad night last night.
Yeah.
We had
but
the
we're
Phillies.
going to own it, though. We're going to own it, though.
Exactly.
And we're going to make up for it tonight.
I hope so. So we're going to give some props right now, some prop bets as well. So let's turn to Evan Wilner to host Giving Props. Going.
Jalen Hurts rushing touchdown plus a Bryce Harper home run. You guys going to take that bet at plus 1,000?
Yeah, I'm going to take it. I mean, Jalen Hurts has 6 rushing touchdowns on the season. They've played 7 games. So it seems like it's a good bet. And in a gotta-have-it situation for the Phillies, because this is their last home game in the World Series, I think their biggest bat is going to show up. Bryce Harper's got 6 home runs in the playoffs so far, and he's been on an absolute tear with 21 hits and 13 RBIs. So, yeah, I'm going to say that that both of those happen. I take it at plus 1,000.
Plus 1,000, that number feels a little light to me. I mean, it feels more like plus 1,200 it should be. But, look, why not? Why not? I would jump on board that for the heck of it. Absolutely. I do want to emphasize that tonight's play of the night will involve a Philly-Houston theme between the NFL and Game 5. That is on the way here momentarily. Next!
Jalen Hurts over under 1.5 passing touchdowns, Chris Carlin.
Yeah, I'll take the over on that. I think Jalen Hurts, have a day, Jalen Hurts. I think that's going to happen tonight. I would really expect him to light it up this evening, Canty.
I am going to take the over on that too. I mean, listen, they're huge favorites in tonight's game. I think they light it up on the scoreboard. They're not going to play down to their competition. They showed that against your Pittsburgh Steelers last week. So I think that they have a huge day. And, of course, that means Jalen Hurts being able to score in a lot of different ways. So, yeah, I'll go over 1.5 passing touchdowns.
Davis Mills over under 1/2 of a touchdown pass. So will he throw 1 touchdown pass tonight against that Eagles secondary, Chris Canty?
I'm going to say, yeah, he does. He's going to throw a touchdown pass. It'll probably be in garbage time because the game will be so far out of hand. So I'm going to say he throws over a touchdown pass.
Yeah, I'm going to say no because I'm still down on him from last week. I needed him to go over 222, and he had like 60 passing yards in the fourth quarter until garbage time. So no, Davis Mills. No, you're in the doghouse. Next.
Miles Sanders over under 90.5 rushing plus receiving yards. Chris Carlin.
Over. They cannot stop the run to save their lives. I mean, come on. I'm taking over on this, Kitty. That number, that feels like the L word. That feels like the Lockadini.
The Lockadini. Oh. Whew. They can't stop the run, Carlin. But there's a part of me that thinks that the Eagles do take their foot off the gas at some point in this game, and it's not going to be strictly a Miles Sanders affair. Kenneth Gainwell could get in on the action as well, running the football, and for that reason, I'm going to go under. I'm going to take the under 90.5 rushing and receiving yards for Miles Sanders. Under.
Next.
A.J. Brown, 69.5 receiving yards, over under. Chris Canty.
A.J. Brown has been on a tear, man. You saw what happened last week. There was something to that connection. I'm sure that the Texans are going to try to slow that down. I don't think it's going to matter. They can throw 3 defensive backs over there. A.J. Brown is still going to moss them dudes. So I'm going to go over 69.5 receiving yards for A.J. Brown.
Agreed. I don't see any reason to bet against A.J. Brown these days, the way things are going. So at 69.5, yeah, I'll take the over on that one. Next.
Phillies win plus a Kyle Schwarber home run is plus 280 at Caesars. You taking that bet, Chris Carlin?
Schwarby. That's what they're calling him down there. Schwarby. Yeah, listen. Phillies win in a Kyle Schwarber home run. Why not? You know, he's got 13 postseason home runs now in his career. 13. Why not? Plus 280 again. Give me a little bit better odds than that.
I thought that was low.
That is low. Give me plus 400 on that. I mean, that's fair, right? No, I absolutely will take that. I'm on board.
Well, listen, I already said Bryce Harper is going to hit a home run. I think Kyle Schwarber is going to hit one too. Home runs are like sacks. They come in bunches. I'm going to go with it. So, yeah, I think the Phillies win tonight, and I think you get a home run from the Schwarber Fest.
Schwarby. Next.
Justin Verlander, over or under 5.5 strikeouts.
That's interesting. Basically, what we're betting here is whether or not Verlander makes it through 5 innings.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I thought the over-under was going to be for 5 1/3 innings.
Right. So, Canty, do we think Verlander, who has been just god-awful in the World Series in his career, ERA north of 6 in the World Series, do we think he makes it through 5 innings tonight and gets 5.5 strikeouts?
No.
I think you don't think so. You're going lower. You're going under.
I'm going under, man, and I'll tell you why. If the Phillies lose this game, the World Series is over. It is over. Now, I picked the Astros to win in 6, but if the Phillies lose this game, the World Series is over. There's going to be urgency. There's going to be desperation. They're going to grind out these at-bats. I don't see a lot of swings and misses in Justin Verlander's future. I don't see a lot of strikeouts. So I'm going under.
I would go over just based on the fact that it's Justin Verlander. That's all. Next.
How about Noah Syndergaard over under 2.5 strikeouts, Chris Carlin?
Wow. He's such a different pitcher now, too. Exactly. Exactly. I'm like, once again, Canty, you have crystallized my thoughts.
Is he the opener? Are they going to use him as the opener?
It's a great question. God, why'd you have
I got
to
a
ask
feeling
me
there
that?
are a lot of runs that can be scored in a nice game.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It should be 2.5.
I'm going under 2.5 strikeouts. Under.
How about over under 2.5 outs recorded by Noah Syndergaard?
Yeah, I'm fading Noah Syndergaard all the way. I'm fading him.
Well, I mean, just to point it out, his last 3 outings in the postseason, an inning and a third, 3 innings, and 1 inning. And he has 4 total strikeouts in those 5 1/3 innings.
Fade him.
Fade away. Next.
That's it. Buster's next.
Oh, Buster is next. He will join us live from Citizens Bank Park. See, here's the thing. Right on the tees on the screen, Evan wrote, we've seen history in back-to-back games in the World Series. Will it be 3 in a row? Last night was not history. Last night was excitingly average. Canty and Carlin, ESPN Radio.
Whether on your radio, the ESPN app, your smart speaker, or SiriusXM Channel 80.
So to sit around and try to haggle, why doesn't he tell us it's unfair to the quarterbacks? The quarterbacks know the deal.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max are everywhere you are. It all starts weekday mornings at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Hi, I'm Flo from Progressive. You know me, I'm a huge football fan, but it can be stressful for us super fans. So Progressive is going to help take your mind off your team for a moment. Instead of thinking about how your team threw the wrong ball on the wrong net, just think about how Home Quote Explorer lets you easily compare our direct rates with multiple companies. Well, hope this distraction about Progressive's Home Quote Explorer was helpful. It sure helped me from stressing about my team for a bit. Anyway, go sports!
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
O'Reilly. When you need auto parts, O'ReillyAuto.com is just a few clicks away. We offer convenient options for you to get your parts quickly. Order online and pick up for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. We'll even bring it out curbside. Or you can have your parts delivered right to your door with free shipping on most orders over $35. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Ohio, DraftKings Sportsbook is coming. To celebrate, all new customers will receive $200 in free bets. Plus, 5 lucky customers will win a $100,000 free bet. That's right. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you $200 in free bets just for signing up today. No deposit required. Plus, you'll be entered to win a $100,000 free bet when you sign up. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and sign up with code WING1410 to get $200 in free bets to use once mobile sports betting hits Ohio. Plus, 5 customers will win a $100,000 free bet only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code WING1410. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966. 21 and up. Physically present in Ohio. Eligibility restrictions apply. See terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regularity licensing requirements. 1 per customer. $200 issued as $825 free bets. No purchase necessary for sweepstakes. Void where prohibited. Ends first day. DraftKings is allowed to operate in Ohio. See terms at dkng.co/OH.
Hi, I'm Coach Jim Place, and I'm proud to support Tony Shane for Montgomery County Common Pleas Court Judge. I've known Tony and his wife Annie for a long time. Something that makes Tony and the great Annie so special is they are a team. They truly care about the citizens of Montgomery County. They were born here, they're raising their family here, and the citizens of Montgomery County are something they care very deeply about. That's why on November 8th, I'm voting for Tony Shane for Montgomery County Common Pleas Court Judge.
Paid for by citizens to elect Shane.
Finding the right Medicare plan? Oof, no easy feat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens Find Rx coverage. Lets you compare plans online, over the phone, or in person. Made Medicare shopping so easy. Plus, I found plans with low-cost copays. I can get down with that. Medicare annual enrollment ends December 7th. Find a plan that's right for you at walgreens.com/Medicare.
Why wait to save? Dell Technologies Black Friday event arrives early with select deals on top tech to power business productivity. The savings start now with up to 48% off performance business PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, including free shipping on everything. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL for Black Friday deals. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Did somebody say flatbreads? If you haven't already, you need to get to Twin Peaks and try out the new in-house made flatbreads, featuring 4 options, including the Hottie Jalapeno Popper, Hawaii 5-0, the Italian, and the OG Pepperoni. Ask your Twin Peaks girl for more details. And don't forget, no one does happy hour like Twin Peaks. Are you a fan of Twin Peaks? Sign up for the E-Club to stay up to date on all things Twin Peaks and score free stuff. Signing up is easy. Just visit twinpeaksrestaurant.com/Peaks Club to get started today.
Urology Specialists of Ohio are here for you. Men, your good health is important to them. Their knowledge of specific male anatomy, prostate issues, and how to help in your healing is their main focus. Urology Specialists of Ohio are now accepting new patients at all locations: Beaver Creek, Springfield, Urbana, Xenia, and London. They have been in practice for over 20 years with over 80 years of experience between 5 physicians. Call today. They can schedule your appointment in a timely manner with little wait time. Online at urologyspecialistofohio.com.
Now at Menards, save big money with 11% off everything. Illuminate your home's exterior with Patriot Lighting outdoor lights. Install with ease and feel safe when someone approaches your home with motion-activated security lighting. Choose from a wide selection to brighten up your home in style with unique designs. Now get 11% off all Patriot Lighting at Menards. Good to November 6th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Creative Foam is opening an office in Vandalia, Ohio, and is hiring. On-site interviews Monday through Friday at 3337 North Dixie Drive in Dayton, or apply online at creativefoam.com.
All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
I'm Doug Brown. Justin Verlander and Noah Syndergaard started the same game back in April, the first start of the season for both, with both of them coming off Tommy John surgery. Tonight, they meet again in Game 5 of the World Series. Both will be free agents after the series. Verlander and the Astros, Syndergaard and the Phillies. Coverage at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio with the series tied at 2. In the NFL, it's Week 9, and tonight, it's also Houston and Philadelphia. The Texans host the unbeaten Eagles. Can Philly go perfect for the whole season? ESPN's Bart Scott.
I don't think it's a possibility. I think that takes a lot of mental endurance. And, you want to worry about winning the championship. You don't want to worry about going undefeated.
Bart Scott on Get Up. ESPN's Ed Werder reports Texans wideout Brandon Cooks is out for tonight. He took 2 days off for personal reasons this week and seemed to be disappointed about not getting traded. Ravens wideout Rashad Bateman will miss the rest of the season. He'll have surgery on his left foot. Saints wideout Michael Thomas will likely miss the rest of the season.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive offers a great price and round-the-clock protection when bundling home and auto. It's one of those rare times where you could save money and get something great. Bundle today at Progressive.com.
Always great music. We've got Game 5 of the World Series tonight. We are going live to Philadelphia and Citizens Bank Park. And 20 seconds, Canty and Carlin, presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Insurance gives you protection on the phone, online, or on the app 24/7 because things happen 24/7. Quote at progressive.com. Buster Olney, ESPN MLB insider. He, of course, will be on the call tonight with Dan Schulman, with Jessica Mendoza, with Eduardo Perez right here on ESPN Radio. Coverage begins at 7 p.m., and Buster joins us from Citizens Bank Park. All right, Buster, how did the Phillies find a way to turn the page after being no-hit last night?
Yeah, I think that Kyle Schwarber probably said out loud what a lot of the players were thinking when he was asked by a reporter about the historical significance of being no-hit in the World Series, and he said, I don't give a bleep. And when we related that to Rob Thompson this afternoon, he just burst out laughing. I think that's what Rob would have said in the press conference, except he went with the PG version where Schwarber went with the PG-13 version. Look, I think, and you know this, Chris, that with baseball players, they turn the page so quickly. They move on so quickly. When the Astros, got wiped out in Game 3, 5 homers allowed by Lance McCullers Jr., we were walking out after the pregame show about 40 minutes after the last pitch, 45 minutes, and there go the Astros buses. It felt like that the players like, okay, we're going to wash that off. We're going to leave. We're going to come back tomorrow. It's going to be a different day. And not only was it a different day, but they go from that wipeout loss to the second no-hitter in the history of the World Series.
Buster, in what seems like a must-win game for the Phillies, a lot of attention is going to be on their lineup and their offense. But we also got to think about the guy that's got the ball, Noah Syndergaard. This is not the same guy that was screaming 60 feet, 6 inches when he was with the New York Mets. This postseason, the longest outing that he's had is 3 innings pitched. And so what's Rob Thompson's plan in terms of how he's going to utilize his pitching staff to support Noah Syndergaard tonight?
Noah Syndergaard is not going to have a long start, right? At the beginning of the postseason, Rob said that he and his staff talked about the group of pitchers that they had and how to best utilize them, and they determined that they felt like that they would be using Syndergaard out of the bullpen, and he's been good in that role. The downside is that he's not really prepared at this point to go deep into a game. If they got 3 good innings out of him, I think they'd be thrilled. What you're going to see tonight is Rob managing his bullpen very aggressively. I think when you see Yordan Alvarez coming to the plate for the second time, the 12th hitter in the game, I would be surprised if Syndergaard's still in the game by then. At that point, he's probably going to go with one of his lefties.
Buster Olney, ESPN Baseball Insider, joining us from Citizens Bank Park. Buster, with Verlander tonight, the World Series has not been the stage that he has shined on. So what does this game mean for him tonight? What's the Phillies' approach against him?
Yeah, didn't we have this conversation a couple of years ago about Clayton Kershaw?
Yeah.
Where it felt
point.
like you have this future Hall of Famer, and then Justin should be a unanimous selection first ballot guy when his name comes up for election. But there is that thing in the World Series where he still doesn't have a World Series win. When we asked Dusty Baker before, and I got to tell you, after watching last night's game, my thought this morning was I could see Dusty managing very aggressively with his bullpen, perhaps third time through the order, automatic, let's go, like Blake Snell, let's get him out of the game. And when we talked to Dusty before, he said there's no short leash for Justin Verlander. Like Justin Verlander, his feeling is he wants to get as many outs as possible. Will that work? I don't know. I think one thing that's got to happen for Justin tonight, who comes into this game with more pressure on him, on his shoulders than any player here, is he got to be more aggressive with his fastball. When he got hit in his first start in the World Series, first time through the lineup, he used his fastball attacked, just as Christian Javier did last night. He went more to the breaking ball second time through, and he got pounded.
Buster, what did Christian Vasquez have to say after catching that no-hitter that the Astros pitching staff put together?
So, Chris Canty, that was one of the most fun conversations that I've had, because I asked him about whether or not, hey, did you pull any memento out of that game last night? And, he didn't quite understand my question. He goes, yeah, they told me right after the game, and he looked at me and he was trying to remember the details. That's the second no-hitter in the history of the World Series, and the first guy who caught one was Yogi Berra. He hadn't heard of that before last night. And so, actually, as we sat there, I showed Christian that video of Yogi Berra at the end of Larson's perfect game in 1956, running out to the mound, leaping into Larson's arms, and Christian just had the biggest smile on his face. He thought that was the coolest thing. And we talked about him maybe, depending on how this World Series plays out, asking the groundskeepers here if they can dig up home plate for him. He is at least going to have a picture framed with the autographs from all the pitchers who were involved last night. He was so fired up about what happened.
Okay, so with that in mind, Buster, I have been one of these guys today who's Debbie Downer. Like, all right, no hitter, great. This is not up there with Larson. This is not up there with Halladay, considering it is a multi-pitcher no hitter. Am I right? Am I wrong?
It's not as big of a deal. It's apples and oranges. But, okay, it's absolutely apples and oranges. It's not what Halladay did. It's not what I saw with David Wells or David Cohn. It's just in a different category. However, this is where I landed just thinking about what we saw last night. From pitch one to the last pitch of the game, that was the most dominant performance by a pitching staff against an opposing team that I've ever seen. Because at the end of the day, and you guys know this, when we've seen no-hitters and perfect games, there's always one or two plays. An outfielder runs down a ball. Dwayne Wise reaches up and steals a home run away to save Mark Burley's perfect game. In that game last night, guys, there was nothing.
Yeah.
In fact, our friend Sarah Langs put a number to this. The expected batting average on the contact that the Phillies hitters had, and there wasn't a lot of that, was .081, which is the lowest in the history of the postseason since they began tracking some of those things based on exit velocity, based on trajectory as the ball leaves the bat.
Wow, that's great. Buster, enjoy Game 5 tonight. We're looking forward to it.
It'll be a blast, guys. Thank you.
Buster Olney, live from Citizens Bank Park. It'll be Dan Schulman along with Jessica Mendoza and Eduardo Perez and Buster on the call right here on ESPN Radio at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, 20 minutes from now. Keep it right where it is. Canty and Carlin, ESPN Radio, and we do what we do best, make you money. That's next on ESPN Radio.
Houston and Philadelphia take center stage on Thursday night with the Eagles taking on the Texans on Thursday Night Football. And, of course, the critical Game 5 of the World Series will be the place to talk about it Friday. It's Greeny, starting 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
You can't get much for $5 these days, unless you go to Wendy's for a $5 Biggie Bag. Get your choice of double stack, junior bacon cheeseburger, or crispy chicken BLT, plus 4-piece nugs, fries, and a drink, all for just $5. You got that bag. You got that Biggie Bag. You got that bag. That was smooth, wasn't it? That's how you're going to feel when you get that Biggie Bag at Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Includes 4-piece nuggets, small soft drink, and small fry. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
It's pro time because at Lowe's, it's Provember. Save big with inventory you can count on, like Flex products or DeWalt Power Tools starting at just $99. Plus, Lowe's MVPs members earn up to 3 times bonus points per dollar on select items. Save all Provember long. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. MVPs Pro Rewards Program. Terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/L/Pro Loyalty Terms. Subject to change. Prices valid from 10/17/22 to 2/3/23 or until supplies last.
Are you sick and tired of living with that constant pain in your knees and back? You know, joint pain doesn't just keep you from doing what you love. It affects your job, your relationships, even simple things like getting dressed. Hey, it's Keith Byers. It's time to call QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics uses advanced regenerative medicine to restore and repair damaged joint tissue, giving you your life back. Hips, shoulders, elbows, they can all be treated with natural biologics from your own body. Powerful healing agents, highly concentrated. If you're tired of steroid shots that don't work, or if you're trying to avoid surgery, call QC Kinetics now to schedule your free consultation. Learn about these exciting new cutting-edge treatments for pain caused by arthritis or injury. No drugs, no pain meds, no downtime. This is an all-natural treatment that can get you lasting relief. People here are raving about the results. Call now. Appointments are available for the coming week. QC Kinetics. Call 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325.
Want to get a $1,000 Visa card from your Medicare plan? At WellCare, our Medicare Advantage plans are simplified so you can enjoy all the great benefits you care about most. Like our WellCare Flex card, a preloaded debit card that gives you up to $1,000 to pay for extra dental, vision, or hearing expenses not covered by your plan. Like hearing aids, dentures, prescription glasses, co-pays, and more. It's just one more way WellCare is improving every aspect of Medicare to give you access to the top tier benefits you want most. Plus, plus a little extra. To learn more about WellCare, visit wellcareforoh.com today. That's wellcareforoh.com to enroll today. WellCare, it's Medicare done well. Benefits vary by plan. WellCare is the Medicare brand for Centene Corporation, an HMO, PPO, PFFS, PDP plan with a Medicare contract and is an approved Part D sponsor. Our DSNP plans have a contract with the state Medicaid program. Enrollment in our plans depends on contract renewal.
Hey, Buckeye fans, as the official wing sponsor of your Ohio State Buckeyes, Roosters is giving away 12 trips for 2 to this year's Buckeye Bowl game. Each trip comes complete with airfare, hotel, gift bag, and 2 tickets to the big game. One bowl prize winner chosen each week, along with other cool Roosters weekly prizes. So register every week at roosterswings.com. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Official contest rules at roosterswings.com.
Need a U.S. passport? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Visit one of our convenient auto title locations in Huber Heights, Clayton, downtown, Moraine, and Centerville. Make us your first destination before you travel abroad. No appointments ever needed. We do passports.com for more info.
Lance Roofing and Siding would like to remind you that daylight savings time ends this Sunday at 2 a.m. It's time to fall back and set your clocks back an hour. A friendly reminder from your friends at Lance Roofing and Siding, here for your roofing and siding improvements. Online at lanceroofing.com.
Why wait to save? Dell's Black Friday event arrives early with select deals on top tech to power any passion. The savings start now on the latest XPS and Alienware PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget, special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, including free shipping on everything. Just call 877-ASK-DELL for Black Friday deals. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
This is Loyalty Lab Interview 6, subject grandmother's loyalty. Margie, what do you do when your grandson misbehaves?
Angels don't misbehave.
Here we study the most loyal, like you and... Oh, there goes the lamp.
Shouldn't have put it there.
Shell and the Fuel Rewards program has our members' backs too. It's super easy to save on every gallon. Loyal, just like how you acted like that wasn't his fault.
Someone should clean that up before he gets hurt.
Yes, loyal, just like that.
10 years of FR.com. Terms and conditions apply.
A new Dick's Sporting Goods warehouse sales store is now open in Dayton at Mad River Station. Get ready to save up to 70% off on thousands of items. Grand opening celebration November 4th to the 6th.
College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Fire Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Canty and Carlin, ESPN Radio, and on the ESPN app last night. Frankly, we were abominable. Yeah. We owe you. We owe you. We own it. We own it when we're not right, and last night we were just not right. Tonight, we take another crack at it. So let's get to it.
Time to earn some cash.
The taste of money, the smell of wealth.
It's Carlin's best play of the night.
The taste of money.
All right, Canty, we're going to tie together Game 5 of the World Series and the Texans and Eagles tonight. Philly on Houston, double action.
Okay.
So, we have not ironed this out completely yet. I'm going to throw a couple of numbers at you, see what grabs your attention, what tickles your fancy. In the Eagles game, Jalen Hurts, 42.5 rushing yards. Eagles are 14-point favorites. The over-under is 45 against the Texans. A.J. Brown, over 4.5 receptions. Devontae Smith over 3.5 receptions.
Mm-hmm.
Devontae Smith, 50.5 receiving yards. A.J. Brown, 67.5 receiving yards. Let's see. Passing yards. Jalen Hurts at 239.5. Davis Mills at 212.5.
Okay. So let me know when you're ready for me to start throwing the ones that I actually like out there.
All right, tell me what you like. Go.
So I like A.J. Brown over what is it, 69.5 yards receiving?
Correct.
I like that play.
67.5.
67.5. I like A.J. Brown over 67.5. I also happen to like Jalen Hurts over 235.5 yards passing.
Okay.
I like that.
Jalen
If
Hurts.
you're not on board with that, we don't have to go that direction. I'm just telling you what
I'm
I
on
like.
board with that. I'm not against that at all. Absolutely not.
And then we both like the over on the run total from the Phils-Astros game.
Correct.
Is that correct?
7.5.
There we go.
Over 7.5. A.J. Brown total receiving yards over 67.5. Jalen Hurts over 239.5 passing yards. That is at plus 490. Plus 490 for tonight's, dare I say,
It's a primetime parlay.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Let's see what happens, baby. Once
There
again,
you go.
if you're writing this down at home, Jalen Hurts over 239.5 passing yards. A.J. Brown over 67.5 receiving yards. And the total in Phillies-Astros Game 5 over 7.5.
Carlin.
Yes.
Carlin, really quickly, if we wanted to be greedy,
oh boy,
a lot of trade rumors about Brandon Cooks this week. He was held out of practice. Brandon Cooks
He's not playing.
Oh, he's not playing. Okay.
He is not playing.
Okay, good. Okay.
Okay, so we're not going to get greedy.
I was going to fade him.
Well, I mean, if they'll let us, I don't think they will, though.
All right.
Sometimes it's the worst. Sometimes it's the best. Either way, we'll get you straight with everything you need to know. This is 3 and Out.
All right, Canty. First of all, I want to remind you we've got college football action Saturday night. LSU hosting Alabama, presented by Dr. Pepper. Coverage begins 6:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. Okay, Canty. Number one, Hall of Fame Raiders punter Ray Guy passed away at age 72 today. Won 3 Super Bowl rings with Oakland and L.A. over a 14-year career. The first punter ever selected in the first round of an NFL draft. Hall of Famer as well.
Yeah, I mean, I usually say kickers aren't football players. They're barely even people. This dude was an absolute football player. He's the first punter to be drafted in the first round in the NFL draft. So that says something about his football abilities. And Carlin, just what he meant to that Raiders dynasty. Like my former teammate Chris Long, his dad Howie Long was a Raiders legend. He was on those teams. And Ray Guy is one of those players that everybody looked at affectionately because of not only what he did, but his sports character. So lost another great one today, man. It's unfortunate, thoughts and prayers with his family, but Ray Guy, a legacy that will live on.
76ers guard James Harden, right foot tendon strain, out for a month for the Sixers, Canty. That is a blow, and that is not all that surprising when it comes to James Harden, although off to a pretty good start.
No, he's off to a great start, Carlin. And here's the thing that everybody was excited about seeing, this new James Harden that actually worked out in the offseason, and it felt like it was working out for the Sixers because the guy's averaging 22, 10, and 7. But, I think it'll be important for young guys like Tyrese Maxey to step up. Another guy, DeAnthony Melton, who they acquired from the Memphis Grizzlies. Those guys are going to have to play a more prominent role because you're losing a lot of offensive firepower with James Harden out of the lineup.
I mean, we're being a little loose with great start. Very good start. I don't know about great.
Carlin, 22, 10, and 7?
I mean, comparatively speaking to what James Harden has done before, those numbers are up around 25, 26 points a game. That's all I'm saying. That's it. Tough grader. Going based on what James Harden has always done. When he's not fat. That's all. Finally.
Okay.
So I'm the tough guy.
Okay. I mean, I'm just saying 22, 10, and 7 is damn good for anybody.
That's true. That is true. I'm not saying it's bad. It's good. Anyway, World Series Game 5, Noah Syndergaard facing Justin Verlander. Chase Utley threw out the first pitch, I think, last night. And Syndergaard and Utley always going to be connected. Remember, 2015 NLDS, Dodgers Mets. Utley took out Ruben Tejada at second base with really what was considered a dangerous slide. And the next year, Syndergaard threw the ball behind Chase Utley to try to exact a little revenge. And he immediately got thrown out of the game. And that is the classic Terry Collins ass in the jackpot saying when he's screaming at the umpire. Remember that?
Oh, I remember that. And I also remember Noah Syndergaard, 60 feet, 6 inches, come get some.
Exactly.
That's where Noah Syndergaard was famously known for saying that. Like, he was one of those players that wanted to have his guys back. So imagine how awkward that moment was yesterday. Like, that's just one of those things that's really uncomfortable. But now, I mean, if you're Noah Syndergaard, your focus has to be not spitting the bit when you go out there for the first couple of innings in a gotta-have-it situation for the Phillies. Because guess what? You'll be the GOAT, and not in a good way in that town.
Syndergaard was asked about it last night, said, am I going to have to catch the first pitch? Never talked to him face-to-face and said, I've always admired the way he played the game. He's a tremendous talent, and I'm glad to be able to put on the same uniform as him. Oh, some Met fans are not going to take that particularly well. That's a rough one for Noah Syndergaard. Fascinating. Game 5 next.
Yeah, we're replacing the carpets too, so don't worry about that.
No fresh powder yet, but Dan's Ski Lodge has an avalanche of projects.
Those 4 rooms are getting hot tubs.
He needs a staff engineer to navigate a flurry of new requests.
And all of those will be fully ADA accessible.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, taillights, trunk lids, license plate holders, 122 million parts. Pull up just a little bit. And headlights. They've got lots of headlights. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Ad paid for by the Sentinel Group. Attention Marines, military personnel, families, and contractors who were stationed at Camp Lejeune. Were you present at Camp Lejeune between August 1953 and December of 1987? You may be entitled to significant compensation. For nearly 34 years, those in the Marine Corps' base Camp Lejeune were exposed to contaminated drinking water, resulting in devastating injuries, including several forms of cancer, adverse birth outcomes, Parkinson's disease, and more. North Carolina's procedural laws have prevented victims from getting the justice they deserve. But passage of the Camp Lejeune Justice Act of 2022 would allow you or a loved one to file lawsuits seeking compensation for illnesses and injuries linked to the toxic water. Call today for your free consultation. 800-490-8291. Let our experienced attorneys fight to get you the compensation you deserve, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. Call 800-490-8291. That's 800-490-8291. Again, 800-490-8291.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
See Columbus Equipment Company, 7570 New Carlisle Pike in Dayton.
Have you heard? $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring Class A CDL drivers for home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freights with brand new equipment, and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, company 401k. Plus, they're now hiring recent truck driving school graduates. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen.
Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Buckeye football season is back. That means tailgating and parties for the big game. You need the Lee's famous recipe Buckeye Bucket. It comes with 25 pieces of the delicious jumbo breast strips for only $44.99. Of course, you can add a few of their famous country side items, buttermilk biscuits, gallons of fresh brewed Lee's iced tea, or lemonade. You have the perfect recipe for a tailgate or watch party. Cheer on the Buckeyes this weekend with a Buckeye Bucket. Order today.
On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
These GMs want to bank the future development on the concept that maybe draft picks are going to pan out. The NFL's changing. The question is, will we change how we analyze it? And will we change how we analyze trades along with the way the league is evolving? With the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I'm James.
WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio.
This is SportsCenter.
Hello there. I'm Mark Robbins. It's Philadelphia against Houston on two fronts. Game 5 of the World Series. This one in Philly. Series tied at 2 games apiece after the Astros staff no-hit the Philadelphia Phillies on Wednesday night. Coverage now underway on ESPN Radio. First pitch at 8:03 p.m. Eastern. Meanwhile, Thursday night football in Houston with the Philadelphia Eagles coming to visit the unbeaten Eagles. The one-win Texans will be without wide receiver Brandon Cooks. He's out due to personal reasons. Personal views are the subject of concern in the NBA with the Nets' Kyrie Irving, who has agreed to donate $500,000 to causes and organizations that want to eradicate hate. But Kyrie stopped short of a full-blown apology the other day for promoting an anti-Semitic movie. ESPN Nets reporter Nick Friedel says Irving will be under an intense microscope for the near future.
As far as the league goes and a possible suspension, they're watching right now to see what happens next. And the hope was that things would kind of cool off after he addressed the media again today, and that did not happen.
That's Nick Friedel on Canty and Carlin earlier on ESPN Radio. NBA tonight, good game. Golden State at Orlando. James Harden suffering a tendon strain in his foot. Sixers say their star will miss about a month of the season.
Houston and Philadelphia take center stage on Thursday night with the Eagles taking on the Texans on Thursday Night Football. And, of course, the critical Game 5 of the World Series will be the place to talk about it Friday. It's Greeny, starting 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
From the ESPN studios at Pier 17 in the Seaport District of New York City, this is Greeny with Mike Greenberg on ESPN Radio. You can also listen and watch the show on the ESPN app.
Back and better than ever, Greeny presented by Progressive Insurance. Oh, what a day we have on this Thursday. We got no hitters. We got unhappy fans. We got a team that can't handle prosperity. And can you believe it? We have another wedding. Lock the doors. Let's do this thing.
Here we go. Go.
Only one place to start.
All right, one place to start with us here on ESPN Radio is with my man Ninkovich and my man Graziano. They're here, they're back and better than ever, and they are ready to roll. I threw away my papers, so I can't read the sponsorship, but I will shortly as I bring it over to these guys here and we talk about the issues that we talked about on TV today. It descended into something of a shouting match over my great frustration.
Bart was here.
Over the conversation. And Nico, you were really the one who started this in our meeting. So the Philadelphia Eagles are going to wipe the field with Houston tonight, right? We all agree on that. They're going to improve to 8-0, which parenthetically is something the Eagles have never been in their history, which goes back to the 1930s. But the question, Nico, is if they should find themselves 15-0, which feels like a real possibility, they're overwhelmingly favored to win their next 7. So let's call it 14-0. And they have wrapped up the 1 seed in the NFC, which by that point they easily may have. How would you approach those last quote unquote meaningless games with the possibility of a perfect season on the line?
Well, I think that's a tricky question considering there's one factor you have to look into is the healthier team. So which key pieces of your roster are dealing with an injury or dealing with something that they're playing through? And at that point, does a couple weeks or a week of rest help you considering you have a bye week? And does putting your team first and having some guys maybe take some rest put you in jeopardy of losing that undefeated status? And I said that I personally had experienced with being with the Patriots, considering they were the last team to go undefeated in the regular season, that the pressures that come with that are somewhat really meaningless. You really don't need the pressures of being undefeated, then going into the playoffs, because you could go into the playoffs like the 07 Patriots, which clearly were the best team in football that year, and get beat by the Giants, who, you know, had somewhat of a struggling record, and they get into the playoffs, and it's all about a one-game season at that point.
But I need you to explain one thing to me. And our one place to start, by the way, is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Greeny. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Where Graziano and I pushed back at you a lot on TV today was the idea that being asked about the perfect season a lot creates a level of pressure. Explain to me the tangible difference, if you can, between being – now there are 17 games in a season. So 17-0 going into the playoffs or 16-1. You're still the overwhelming favorite. It'll still be a huge upset if you lose. It'll still be devastating, I'm sure. You want to win a championship more than anything in the world. What exactly is the difference in the pressure?
The history, like chasing history, being the perfect team, being this, going into the playoffs, winning it all, being the second team to do it in history. Like that whole thing, it just gets old. And because at the end of the day, the pressure of getting to a Super Bowl is hard enough on every single player and every single person in the staff and every coach, because at the end of the day, you start the goal off in the offseason with winning a championship. And it's understandable that through a season, and listen, sometimes the best thing that ever happens to a team is to lose, because that's, you go through a regular season or you go through some parts of your season where you're on a roll and you're winning, little issues that might catch up to you in the playoffs, which could end your season, just get covered up with like a little Band-Aid. Oh yeah, well, we missed like 5 plays